What is up, Insaners, and welcome to the Game Week 38 deadline stream, guys. We're finally here. We're finally back with another stream. And this is it, guys. This is it. This is the final stream of the season. Nothing more to play after this. And it's kind of make or break now. I mean, there are no more chances left. There are no more opportunities to kind of gain. Of course, you can do a lot of things this particular week. But we'll get into all of those details. We'll get into minority, stuff, which kind of players to go for, how to kind of gain rank. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions. I'm pretty sure I also have a lot of questions. I also have a lot of doubts in terms of how to play this game week. First, do let me know how your last game week was. I mean, for me, I think it was a pretty bad game week, probably the worst game week of my entire FPL career. I mean, it was really, really bad. I think we kind of dropped from about 29, 30k to about 70k, maybe around 80k. I don't even remember my rank right now, but I think let's just try to kind of navigate that. Let's just try to kind of get the best out of whatever is left, and we'll see. I'm sure you guys probably do let me know how your game week was. Did you kind of lose rank? Did you gain rank? What kind of players worked, etc. for you? Also, very, very interested to know what your objective is for this game week. I think it's a very important one, of course. And I'm sure you might be having some battles in your mini leagues. In, let's say, you're probably chasing 1k, 10k, maybe 100k, maybe even 1 million, maybe 500k, right? Everybody would have a different goal, a different objective. So do let me know what you're thinking about, how you're approaching this game week. And I think that'll be really, really interesting. Thank you so much. I think, first of all, let me just welcome again to all of you guys. Welcome to the final stream. Thank you so much for your support, for your love that you've shown me throughout the season. I mean, I probably would get a little bit emotional in the stream today because it's been a long, massive journey. I mean, of course, I know it can be a little bit draining because of so many game weeks, so much information, so much content out there. But again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your support, all your love. Yes, we did reach 1k subscribers on YouTube. We already have a community on Instagram that has been going for about almost 2 years now. But yeah, thank you so much. Let's hope we come back with, more content, better content, and a lot of engaging stuff. I think a lot of times we kind of forget that FPL is also about having fun. Of course, we are playing for objectives. We have certain goals in mind that, we probably have to go 10k. Maybe we have to reach maybe we have to probably beat a certain mini league rival, right? So we all have these kind of objectives, but let's all, kind of build this community together and make this game a lot more fun and a lot more engaging. Another small update, we also have super chats and super stickers live on the channel now. So in case if you've liked what we've done so far, in case you've liked us throughout the season, maybe we've helped you, maybe we've made the game a little bit better for you. So you can show your support by sending us a super chat. That will be really, really appreciated, and that will go a long way in helping us make better content and getting out a lot of new stuff, which is of course in the pipeline. And I'll kind of talk about that in terms of what I'm planning for the channel. Of course, now FPL is not going to be there, so we'll have to still kind of do some interesting stuff, and there are some ideas in mind. And in case if you have any good ideas, in case if you have any good stuff that you can think of, I'm always up for a chat. You can reach out to me on Twitter. You can also reach out to me and probably DM me on Instagram as well. We're pretty active there as well, and I would of course love to know your thoughts, love to kind of work on any collaborations, etc. that you have in mind. Hello to you, Stephen. Congrats on the 10k subs. It was 1k, and I think you corrected it down. It was 1k, but yeah, it's still a big number for us because it took a pretty decent time to kind of get there. But of course, now we are in 1k, and it's just upwards and better from here. Thank you so much for being a part of the content that we've been doing. I think a lot of people have liked it. A lot of people had a lot of feedback. So in case if you have something, just feel free to reach out to me there. Your team for the final week is Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, James, Alonso, Son, Saka, Kulusevski, Zaha, Kane, Mateta. Your question is, would you do Richarlison, I'm assuming, to Tony for a -4? I think I will. To be honest, I think Richarlison, he's playing for Everton, who are now pretty much safe. I mean, there is no doubt that Everton are not safe now. And I think Lampard also kind of, mentioned in his presser comments that there could be a lot of rotation. I'm not sure how much of rotation would it be, but I think there could be a lot of rotation this week. A lot of people, a lot of players who have not really gone, they've gotten a lot of minutes. I think these are the players that probably will get minutes. And of course, they're playing Arsenal. That's not going to be an easy game because Arsenal is still fighting in that top four position. I mean, they're still fighting for that fourth spot. You can't right now say that, Tottenham has locked it in. Of course, Tottenham are favorites to get into that spot because they have their own destiny, they have their own fate in their own hands, and they probably don't have to depend on Arsenal. But I think I would probably do that move, considering that Tony, you're also going from Richarlison to Tony, right? Which is, of course, you might think that it might not be an upgrade, but when you look at the matchup, right? Because it's a 1 week move, right? You're not gonna have Tony after this week. So maybe if it was for a long term, maybe the question was probably different. My answer would have been different. But in this case, I think Tony's playing Leeds. Leeds absolutely have to go for it. I mean, they cannot also not depend on the Burnley result, right? Because they have to win. And based on that result, I think Burnley will probably, kind of alter their play. So I think Leeds will definitely go for it. Leeds, I mean, they would be a little bit open, I'm pretty sure, because they have to really score and, go out there and win the game. And I think that will create chances, that will give chances for a Brentford team who are also pretty decent. I mean, I was looking at their numbers and I was pretty surprised over the past six game weeks. Their numbers have been really good. And of course, the presence of Ericsson really helps. Visa also has kind of, been really good for Brentford. Tony, I think it's a good option. It's a good move. He's also on penalties. And I mean, there could be some set piece, goals, etc., that he might be involved in. I mean, that's just a possibility. But the points avenue is probably greater. The matchup is better than Richarlison. And I think even for a hit, I mean, I understand that a lot of people might not be comfortable taking a hit in the final game week of the season. But I think Richarlison and Tony for a hit looks pretty good. This you're also saying that this would mean that I bench Mateta. I doubt that Mateta is going to start. I'm not too sure about Mateta. Um, I mean, I still like the Richarlison Tony move. You're also doing Ings to Kane. Again, yeah. So we'll also kind of keep an eye in terms of whether we get any news about lineups, about any kind of leaks, etc. that might come. So we'll of course keep you guys updated in case if you also get to know or if you come across anything which is probably telling you about a lineup, which is probably telling you about any team news. Please feel free to share that on the channel as well. And just a word of caution, even if you're not following what I'm saying right now, that's absolutely fine. But in case if you go on Twitter, by chance, if you go on Twitter and you see, some people are saying that some players are not starting, maybe they are injured, maybe they're not in the team, maybe they're not in the lineup, etc. I mean, unless it's a journalist, unless it's a verified account, unless there's specific accounts that are really good in terms of team news, don't just believe in any person just tweeting about something, because generally on the final day we get a lot of comments, a lot of people predicting lineups, and most of them are generally wrong. So don't spoil your season. Just try to get the most genuine information possible. Of course, we'll also keep updating you guys in terms of whatever we know, and then let's go from there. Shan, hey to you. Welcome to the stream. A lot of confusion for me about the Chelsea boys. I'm on a free hit. I mean, yeah, the free hit is in fact very tricky this week. I mean, of course, it's pretty good that you've had a free hit in your bag all this while, but I think it's also a double-edged sword, because yes, you can gain advantage from a free hit, but let's say if you go for players like James, Alonso, and if they don't start right, I mean, then it's going to be really, really chaotic for you, because I mean, yeah, you can go for them. They have a huge upside. So the reasoning, the logic, absolutely fine. But what if they don't start, right? And I think the general strategy is that if you want to, let's say, chase, for example, I think a double up on Chelsea defense is really, really good. But that really comes with a lot of risk, because I'm pretty sure one of James and Alonso, or Alonso, they are probably going to get benched this week. And because Tuchel has also kind of indicated that there'll be a lot of rotation, there'll be a lot of players, people who are, who've not played across the season, they will be getting a lot of chances, they will be getting a lot of opportunities. So I think there could be heavy rotation there. So in case if you're going for a Chelsea double up, let's say on a free hit specifically, I think you should have some bench cover. I mean, there should be players like Nketiah, maybe players like Sessegnon. Let's say if Sessegnon is not in your starting 11, or maybe some other cheap players. Maybe you go for a Tsimikas and hopes Tsimikas plays, right? Have some sort of bench cover, maybe at least the first bench, and if possible the second bench as well, to kind of cover those two Chelsea defenders. I think that if you're going for Chelsea defense, I think that should be the ideal strategy. Even as a Chelsea fan, I don't know what the lineup will be. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of Chelsea fans that are kind of predicting lineups, but I think this is probably the worst and the most hardest lineup to predict across the season. We've kind of understood, what lineups could be, what potential people could play. But I think this week it's absolutely crazy. I mean, anyone can play, And if you don't get it right, and if you have those players in your team, you might end up, probably losing out on a lot of points. Stephen, road to 10K. Yeah, I mean, hopefully very, very soon, and we just grow upwards from here. Let's just hope you guys keep supporting us, and we just keep growing together as a community. Who to go for Matip or Alonso? I already have Robertson. I think if you want to go safer, I mean, I would still want to go for Alonso, but because of Tuchel's comments, I'm a little bit skeptical about Alonso. Having said that, I think Matip also probably might not start. Matip might get rested. There's a chance that he can get rested, and Konate can come in and play, right? Because I think Matip is probably first choice in that Madrid game. Again, I might be completely wrong, and Liverpool fans might be able to probably tell you guys a little bit better. So if you are a Liverpool fan, if you have some idea about it, please feel free to add those in the comments as well. But I think I mean, both are very tricky options. If I want to go for somebody, I'll probably go for Sessegnon, unless he's injured, or maybe he's probably sick. I don't think so. He's injured, but he's probably sick, for example. Then in that case, I'll probably go maybe to a different defender. But even Matip is a bit tricky right now. I understand that players like Rudiger, etc., they don't have a lot of upside, but I think Rudiger playing his last game for Chelsea, I think he definitely starts this one. And if you still want to go for maybe a player from Chelsea, and if you don't want to take a lot of risk, I think Rudiger might also be a decent option. I mean, who knows, right? Final game of the season against Watford, he might get a freaky goal, he might score from a set piece. You have no idea what's going to happen, right? So in case if you want to go absolutely sure, then maybe a Rudiger, if you have the money, is a better option. But in among these two, I think I'll still probably take a chance with Matip. I mean, I know that Alonso is a better option, but I mean, I doubt that Alonso is going to start this one. Hey Brian, you're probably going to do the transfers I mentioned on the video, because I think Kane is second best player this week. But would you get Kulu if we get news about Barnes over Madison? 102 points for you. That's actually a good score last week. 25k green arrow. I mean, yeah, Kane I think is definitely the second. I mean, if you consider Son as the best player, Kane has to be the second best player this week. I mean, you don't have to get Kulusevski. I think there is an upside with you know a lot of players like a Barnes. I think I really like Barnes, and if we get some news that Barnes is probably starting this game, I think Barnes is a really good option to go for. I think Kulusevski will have a decent ownership, but Barnes could be a great differential. So if I have to, let's say if I have to kind of rate all these three players, Barnes, Madison, Kulusevski, I think you go Madison if you're going very safe. I mean, if you are not going to take any chances, if you're not leading, or maybe if you're not chasing, for example, then you probably go Madison. I think he's a really good option to go for. There's a chance that he might get rested or he might get benched, but again, you take that chance, and his ownership is going to be high, so you're not going to lose out on points if he starts, because I think if he starts, he's probably going to play really well. Then, but that's a safe option, right? Keeping that aside, I think if you have to take a punt, I think Barnes is a really good option. He was rested in the last game against Chelsea. I think there's a high possibility that he starts this game. I think, I mean, there's a chance that, he would get this game to get his confidence back. I mean, he's had a topsy-turvy season where he's performed in patches, but I think there's a high possibility that Barnes starts, and I think he'll do well. Of course, if Vardy starts and Barnes, plays alongside Vardy, that's even better, because Vardy generally does all the running, and he's trying to create spaces, trying to make space for Barnes, for somebody like a Barnes to run in. I think in that kind of a scenario, Barnes is really performed well. I mean, he's at his prime when he's playing alongside Vardy. So look out for that. If Vardy is also starting and Barnes is starting, then I think Barnes is a lot better option than maybe a Madison even, for that matter. Get Mount for Coutinho and play Richarlison, or take a -4 for cash and Coutinho to Madison. Can't reach Mount here, and Robertson. I'll definitely want Mount in my team this week. I mean, unless we get some information that Mount is not starting, then it's a different thing. But of course, just keep this transfer as late as possible. Maybe do it almost very close to the deadline. But I think I would definitely want to have Mount, and I'm okay playing. I mean, it's not the ideal matchup, but in case if you take a -4 for cash in Coutinho, and then you get Madison and Robertson, I mean, I still feel that there's a lot more to gain from a Mount, for example, than probably going Coutinho and Madison and Robertson. Again, the strategy here is that if you're playing safe, I mean, if you're leading in your mini leagues, if you're trying to protect rank, then maybe this a Madison plus Robertson combination could do really well because the ownership is going to be high. I think if both of them start, they do well. So you take that chance. If you're chasing, I think you have to absolutely get Mount. I think he's a great option. In fact, he's my captain right now, and let's see if we stick with him in terms of captaincy till the end. But I think Mount is a really good option. I'll probably prefer the first one. 15 points off 50k. Do you think I need to captain Kane over Son because I don't have many differentials? Maybe Zaha is my. I mean, I won't really captain Zaha this week. I know he's playing United. I mean, absolutely Man United. But I think, I mean, yes, there's a chance that Zaha could do well. He's on pens as well. He's their main attacker. But United might not be that bad. I mean, we just keep assuming. Of course, we don't assume. We've seen how United or how bad they've been. But I think I would still not take a chance with Zaha. If you are 15 points behind, I mean, you can absolutely go Kane. I think in that sort of a scenario, I mean, I'm just painting a different picture here. Let's say if you have Son and if you have Kane, 15 points behind. If you have a other differential, I mean, in this case you only have Zaha, but if you had maybe other differentials, maybe a Mount for example, maybe a Mane, maybe these kind of players, they are better options than probably Mount even. But in your case, I think Kane is decent. Yes, there's a risk that if Son hauls big, then you probably go, downwards. You'll probably start losing out rank. But then that's the call you need to take, whether to kind of go and, attack the top 50k or maybe just be comfortable with what you have and hope that Zaha does really well and, he pushes you in terms of that 50k spot. But in your position, I think personally for me, I'll definitely captain Kane. There's not a lot in terms of, points potential for both players. Of course, Son has that additional clean sheet point. He also has that, one more point for a goal scored. And when he's probably facing, if Tottenham are comfortable in this game, and if maybe Tottenham get a penalty, I think Kane is definitely not going to get that penalty. I think Son definitely takes it ahead of Kane because he's in that fight of for the Golden Boot as well with Salah. So I think that's going to also come into picture. So there's a slight chance that you might lose out on a bit of rank if Son really explodes. But yeah, I mean, take that chance. Final game of the week. I mean, you don't have to, or at least you won't regret that you probably didn't go for this move and try to give yourself a shot in the top 50k. So I mean, I'm absolutely up for it. Your free team currently is Allison, Robertson, Alonso James, Sessegnon, Son Mount, Saka, Luis Diaz, and Kane with Nketiah and Eriksen on the bench. Debating between starting Sessegnon and Eriksen. I think if I have to start one, I'll still start Sessegnon. I think the potential FPL points here are massive. I mean, Tottenham are playing the worst team in the league. They've absolutely given up. Their defensive statistics have been really bad. I mean, when I say bad, it's pathetic, right? And I think there's a lot to be gained here. Yes, Eriksen against Leeds could still do well, but you never know how Leeds turn up. You never know what's going to happen with the Burnley game, how they are reacting, etc. Of course, Leeds still have to win that game. But I just feel, I mean, Sessegnon has a higher upside. With Eriksen, you would get, creative spaces. I mean, he will do a lot of, or he'll have a lot of creative output. His numbers are really good. His numbers are, in fact, as good as a KDB over the last 6 game weeks. But that ceiling is only maybe 7 to 8 points. But with the Sessegnon, if he gets an assist, a clean sheet, maybe he'll also get into bonus points. We don't know. But you can see that he could get to a 10, 12, maybe even a 15-point haul. Eriksen might be a bit tricky. Again, famous last words. I might be totally wrong. I mean, the way the season has been going over the past 6, 7 game weeks, I have been wrong more often than not on betting on certain players. So take that with a pinch of salt. But I think I'll definitely start Sessegnon over Eriksen. Scared about James as Azpilicueta should. I mean, Azpilicueta should start, but I think he won't play left centre back. I mean, if he starts, he's going to play left wing back, and that is James' position, unless James is probably not fit enough, and he probably starts as left centre back himself. But yeah, I mean, if I had to bet on somebody starting this game week, I'll probably start James ahead of maybe an Alonso, maybe an Azpilicueta. Alonso, maybe, there are different players who could play. I mean, they cannot play in that position, but probably Tuchel is going to give them an opportunity. We don't know that. But yeah, I mean, it is a bit tricky. Let's hope and let's see if we can get more information, more news about any kind of lineups, any kind of, leaks in terms of the Chelsea lineup, and then we'll see from there. What do you think will be our Red Devils bottle? I mean, I personally think that I don't want us to go to a conference because, I mean, of course, there's a lot of travel you'll be facing in stadiums and against teams on pitches maybe which are not as good as teams, or maybe they don't have enough funds, enough, I mean, enough good quality stuff to kind of have these matches. There's a lot of chance of injury. There's a lot of tiredness that will come into players. I mean, and conference, the prize money, that's one more thing. The other commercial aspects of getting into conference versus getting into Europa, that's another thing. And it's also a matter of pride, right? I mean, it's really difficult and hard to see United playing conference. I mean, no disrespect to Tottenham fans, maybe even Arsenal fans in their little worse season, but I mean, it'll be a big shock if we get into the Conference League and we can absolutely bottle it. I mean, the way we've been playing, yes, there's a lot of positivity after Ten Hag's appointment. He will be there watching the team play against Palace. So players might have a different motivation. They might be a little bit more motivated to at least end the season on a high. I mean, it's our worst Premier League season for sure. So I mean, there are different narratives into play here, but I mean, I won't be surprised if we really bottle it against Palace, and West Ham would be in a different set of motivation, right? Because for them, I mean, for them, Europa as compared to United playing Europa, there's a different motivation that West Ham would have. And after having done so well in the Europa League, I think they would want to give themselves another shot at it. And I think they will absolutely be going for it because they also kind of know that we are not in the greatest of form and we can bottle it, and they can actually take advantage of it. So I generally think that there's a slight chance that we might bottle it. Your goal for the week is to score 80 plus points and cross 2200 points. I mean, yeah, definitely not bad for the first season. Of course, there'll always be people who do really well in their first season. There'll always be a lot of people who probably, end up being a lot worse as well. So they're both ends to the coin. They're both sides of the spectrum. But I think when you're playing for the first season, and it's very weird and very surprising that this is probably your first season, which probably was the most chaotic season in terms of FPL. And if you've seen this, I generally think that it's not going to get worse. I might be totally wrong because the World Cup is coming next season. And of course, there'll be 1 month break in terms of FPL, in terms of Premier League. So we might end up having the same number of double game weeks. Maybe January, February, March becomes really chaotic. I mean, we don't know right now what's going to happen. But I mean, if you've kind of gone through this, I think things will generally get a bit simpler. Uh, on a regular season, you won't have these many double game weeks. You won't have this much chaos, these many postponements. Of course, pandemic was an outlier in this case. But yeah, I mean, if you've enjoyed this season, if you've kind of made through all this mess, I think you'll definitely enjoy FPL a lot more in the coming time. Hey Raghav, your team is Dubravka, Robertson, James, Cancelo, Laporte, Son, Kulusevski, Saka, Zaha, Nketiah, Richarlison. On your bench, you have Coutinho, Cash, and Mateta. You have 6.8 million in the bank. That's a lot of money. Thinking of transferring out Richarlison to Kane and Coutinho to Diaz. I think I like both of them. To be honest, I probably won't want to. I mean, I don't think so. You probably can get to a Mane. I'm not sure. If you can, again, just do the math here, but if you can get to a Mane, maybe Mane is the best, slightly better option. His game week 38 record over the past 3 seasons has been absolutely mental. I mean, he's averaging 12 points on that game week. And if you are chasing, if you are trying to, go haywire in terms of going for differentials, trying to gain a lot of rank, I think Mane is a slightly better option than Diaz. I generally feel Mane would probably play 90 minutes in this game. Diaz might just share minutes with Jota. That's an absolute possibility here, and I think because of that reason, I think Diaz is probably slightly less, slightly less explosive in terms of the FPL output this week. We also need to kind of understand that Mane is playing, centrally. He's getting a lot of the ball. He's taking shots as well. And if Salah, is not in the team, I think there'll be a lot of play going through Mane. So I think if you cannot make that move, Diaz is still a very good option. I mean, I'm not saying that Diaz is a bad pick at all. And I think even for a -4, I really like these two options. I think Kane really gives that safety net in terms of the Tottenham cover because a lot of people now would be trying to get towards a Kane. I think most of the people already have a Son. If they don't, they'll probably get him instead of a Salah this week. So I think both moves are really good. Even if it's for a hit, I mean, yes, you're taking a hit, but there's a huge haul potential in both these picks, right? Kane could massively go explosive. Diaz again on the same hand, he could also really do really well this week against Wolves, who have been really bad defensively, who again have, I mean, their defensive numbers have absolutely been shattered over the past few weeks. And I think it feels when you see see Wolves, I think it you see that they've kind of given up already since a long time, and we know that they don't score a lot of goals anyways. So I think both the moves are really good. I think Arsenal are going under the radar a bit today because of, yeah, they have been bad, but Everton just survived and might not be in the best. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, there are certain fixtures to target, right? You have the Man City game who are playing Aston Villa. You have Liverpool who are playing Wolves. You have Chelsea who's playing Watford, and then you have Spurs who are playing Norwich. These are the four fixtures that are prime fixtures where I think majority of the people would be trying to make moves, make transfers in this direction. But on the same lines, if you see if you see Arsenal, right? I mean, Arsenal absolutely have to win this game, because if they don't win this game, they don't even stand a chance of finishing in the top four, right? I mean, Spurs can absolutely bottle it. I don't think so it's going to happen. But final day, Norwich might just come out on them, be a lot more attacking than they generally are. And you never know. Anything can happen in that scenario. So, yes, there's a possibility of all that happening. But I think Arsenal is definitely going under the radar. I mean, I was seeing Arsenal's. There was a tweet that I also did on Twitter where I think Arsenal are the worst team in terms of shots leading to goals. And if we see that statistic, I'm really surprised, and probably one of my biggest learnings this season, in fact, is that I've had Ramsdale and White for a really long time. I mean, the Arsenal double up in defense was decent when they were keeping clean sheets, maybe mid season, but mid to the end season, I think their defensive numbers really fall off a cliff. Even the likes of Ramsdale, etc., he was not making a lot of saves. Arsenal generally was not playing that well. But yeah, I mean, there's still a chance because Everton, I think there'll be rotation. I think they will be hungover from those celebrations. I mean, absolutely crazy. And I just feel bad for Patrick Vieira. If you know what happened there, Patrick Vieira kicked a fan because of course the fans started the agitation and all that stuff. But I mean, they will definitely be hungover from the celebrations. I don't think so. Yes, there will still be motivation there, but yeah, I mean, if Lampard, he decides to rotate, decides to give the young players, maybe some other players like Dele Alli, if Van de Beek can play, these kind of players some minutes. I mean, there's an absolute chance that Arsenal can really win by a decent margin. I don't see them winning by 4 or 5 goals in this game, but yeah, I mean, I also feel that they're going a bit under the radar. Ronaldo won't play at all. No, Ronaldo is ruled out from this game against Palace. That's official confirmation. That's official news. So if you have Ronaldo in your team, maybe it's time to look at other options like a Kane, like a Wadi. You can even go Lukaku if you're chasing. And if you were planning to buy him, as a transfer, maybe go a bit differential. Maybe try to attack United for the final game. Don't do that because he's definitely out. Take up the next one. Alonso should start today because I'm not sure if Alonso will start. I understand the reason behind, or at least your thought behind why would he start. But again, as far as I know, there is no official. Again, I might have missed something, but do let me know if you have some more information there, Shan. He might not leave. I mean, there are rumors that he'll leave. I don't think so. There's a club official confirmation, or maybe something confirmed from Alonso and his team, or maybe even Tuchel for that matter. So there's a chance that he can stay as well. And I mean, would he get the last game? Maybe if he's leaving, he does. But again, after Tuchel's comments, I'm pretty confident that Alonso is definitely not going to start. So yeah, bit bullish there, but yeah, let's see. Let's hope if we get some information on these lineups. Zaha to Madison thoughts. I mean, are you getting Zaha or if you get? I'll just probably put it this way. If you have Zaha, I mean, you don't really have to go to Madison unless you're really, trying to protect rank, etc. I mean, Madison is a good pick if you're playing safe, if you're trying to protect rank. And if you want to do Madison to Zaha, I mean, I probably won't do it unless I get some information about Madison not starting. He's not in the team. There is a chance that he might not start because he's been playing a lot of games. He recently came back from injury. Of course, he's been playing really well, and that's why we're kind of considering him, or we already have him in our teams. But I mean, if you have Madison, you keep Madison. If you have Zaha, you keep Zaha. I don't think so. The transfer, either way, it's required. Should I play Laporte? Already have Cancelo and Foden in my playing 11. I think Laporte definitely starts this game. I mean, unless there was nothing in terms of his injury. At least that's nothing that I read. And I think Laporte starts this very important. It's a very, very important game. If we look at the meaning of this game. It's make or break for City, right? They have to put some early pressure on Villa. They have to. I mean, they can't be nervy. They can't just go to the game. And of course, I think depending on how Villa will play, things would be a little clearer in terms of how Man City is approaching the game. But they are absolutely going for it, and they're still a very good defense. Yes, the last couple of weeks have been a bit rough in terms of keeping clean sheets, in terms of the cohesion, in terms of the defense, etc. But I absolutely feel Laporte starts this one. There's a chance that he can get a clean sheet as well. So uh, if I have him in my team, I'll definitely, even if you have Cancelo plus Foden, I still feel you can start Laporte, unless you have some other options which are probably better, which have a higher upside than Laporte. Maybe if you have a Sessegnon, for example, right? I'll definitely start him over a Laporte, because the points upside and the amount of points that he can absolutely get this game week could be massive. In that kind of a scenario, I maybe shift to the other direction, but in general, I think Laporte is a decent player to play. Weghorst and Shaw to Nketiah and Janssen for a -8 to get a full 15 for a bench boost. I mean, Weghorst to Nketiah is good. I already had Weghorst and I had Dennis as well, so I couldn't do that move. But I think I like that move. Janssen, I mean, I'm not sure how much money you have, and if you maybe have a Tottenham triple up. I'm not sure how much is Janssen. We'll just quickly check. I think he's probably 4.5, maybe, if I'm not wrong. We'll just quickly check Janssen. 4.5, right? So if I have that much money, I'll probably go Sessegnon, unless you already have a triple up in Spurs. Maybe you have Kulusevski, Son, and Kane. Maybe you have Lloris. Maybe you have a different defender. If at all you have two players and you can go for a third Spurs player, I think I'll definitely go Sessegnon. But just keep that in mind that there was some talks about maybe him having food poisoning. I'm not sure how much of that is true or how much of that is relevant and serious right now. But if you don't get any information, maybe you take a chance with Janssen. But I just feel, I mean, there's a huge upside with somebody like a Sessegnon, right? And he's 4.4 as well, so you can easily get him in your team. I'll still go Sessegnon, even for a hit. I mean, Janssen, are we really expecting Janssen to keep a clean sheet, attacking returns? Maybe not. But with the Sessegnon, if he plays, I think there's a chance that he does that. But just make sure that you make this move as late as possible, because there could be some information about who's traveled in the Spurs team and who's probably playing in the Spurs team. Alternative for my free hit, take James out for Rudiger and keep my double Chelsea defense with Alonso and Rudiger, and do Saka to one of Madison, Barnes, Bowen. Thoughts? I mean, if you want to go a bit safer, because you feel that James or Alonso, I mean, Alonso is not going to start, then probably you go Rudiger. It's a risky one, right? I mean, if you are really playing for nothing, and I mean, if you just want to have some fun, if you're trying to gain a bit of rank, there's no mini league competition, etc., that you have in mind, then you can still have James. I mean, just have a better bench. But in case if you want to do this move, for example, I think going for a Barnes is probably a good move for me, especially if you're trying to protect rank, then you probably go Madison, because the absolute gain with Madison that you're gonna get is a lot lower than somebody like a Barnes, right? And we are expecting that Barnes got rested in the last game, so there's a chance that he starts this one. Bowen, he's been playing really well. I don't think so he'll be that big of a differential than probably people are expecting him to be. There will be in fact, probably he's one of the most transferred in players this week, right? So against a Brighton team which is very strong defensively, yeah, I mean, I understand the appeal, but his upside is probably not as high as somebody like a Barnes, for example, because Southampton have been really bad. I mean, they're probably one of the beach teams. They have nothing to play. Defensively, they've been really struggling. So Barnes has absolutely everything in his pocket to kind of score, come on, maybe start the game and do really well, FPL wise, of course. Saka to Rafinha. I mean, I personally won't want to get in Rafinha this week. I understand that he's playing Brentford. They can concede. Leeds will be absolutely throwing everything they have to win this game. But yeah, I mean, I still probably won't go Rafinha. I think there are better options there. Coutinho or Saka? Definitely Saka this week. I mean, Coutinho is playing Man City. Man City is probably going to be keeping it tight. I doubt that the likes of Coutinho, Ings, Watkins, or whosoever's playing, they will probably get a lot of. I mean, they first have to get some ball and have some possession to score and do well, right? Saka, on the other hand, has a different motivation. Of course, he's Arsenal's best player. He's absolutely Arsenal's best attacker, and Arsenal has a lot of motivation to do well because they have to win this game to finish in the top, to at least give them a chance to finish in the top four. So I think this is probably not a conversation. I mean, it's clearly Saka. I have 6.6. Who is the best midfielder to buy? 6.6. I think Barnes is in that range. Madison's definitely ahead or more than 6.6. We just quickly check. Yeah, Madison 6.9. Barnes has to be cheaper. I'll just quickly check it. Barnes is 6.5. I think he's a really good option. I mean, if you want to take a bit of a chance, maybe go Trossard, but against West Ham, who are a decent defense, maybe not. You have Rafinha again. Not a huge fan. Ericsson is also one option. I mean, Ericsson is a lot cheaper. But if you want to take a punt, you can also go for Ericsson against Leeds, worst defense in the league. I think they will be a lot open. Ericsson is also on set pieces. So I think if you are looking for a differential, I think both of them are really good options. In terms of start, I'll be very confident that Ericsson starts. Barnes, yes, there's a chance that he starts, but I'm not as confident, as probably I am for an Ericsson in this case. So I think depending on how much risk you want to take, these are two options that you can consider for sure. Hey Nigel, you have shared your team here. It's Ramsdale, Trent, Matip, Cancelo, James, Holgate. Among your midfielders, you have Salah, Saka, Dewsbury Hall, Kulusevski. Forwards, you have Kane. Subs, you have Sa, Weghorst, Gordon, Broha. One free transfer and 0.6 million in the bank. Salah out Sonnen with a -4. Holgate to Laporte or Holgate to Ryan. I think, I mean, it's the same conversation, right? If I have to get somebody in, my priority transfer would be Sessegnon unless there is some clear-cut information that he's not starting. Yes, you still could be on, taking a bit of a risk by going for a Sessegnon in this case. But I think the upside with Sessegnon is way higher than what you can get with Laporte. Laporte has still been probably one of the best defenders for Man City when it comes to attacking threat, especially threat from set pieces, threat from crossing, etc. I think there's a chance that he can, get his head to the ball and maybe score from a set piece. But I just feel Sessegnon, he's very attacking. I mean, he's always attacking on the opposite flank. Norwich have been really poor when it comes to creating maybe creation of chances and even chances conceded from that flank. I think Norwich are really really bad. So there's a good chance that Sessegnon could do really well against Norwich. I'll definitely suggest Sessegnon. Should I take out Richarlison for Antonio or Tony and take out cash for Sessegnon? I mean, if they're free transfers, absolutely do it. And I will probably do Richarlison to Tony and then cash to Sessegnon. Even if it's for a hit, I don't mind these moves. I'm not sure about Antonio because yes, I mean he could do well, but his numbers have been okay. He clearly the best attacker or the best forward. I mean, of course, Bowen is not a forward classified as a forward in the game, but the best forward that West Ham have right now is Bowen. I think he's a great player on the counter. He runs with the ball. He can shoot as well. Antonio does a lot of the hold-up play. I mean, he will bully defenders. He will try to make spaces and create a lot of room for somebody like a Bowen to run into. And I think for that reason, Bowen would probably be a lot better. So I probably won't go Antonio. I'll probably do Tony instead. I think Tony on pens. I've already talked about what are the advantages you can get from a Tony in this particular week against Leeds. So I think even for a hit, I'll probably do it. 9 points behind in my mini league. Behind the number one player. I have no Spurs. Should I bring in a Spurs and hope for the best and gamble on KDB? I mean, no Spurs is a massive risk. If you don't have the likes of Son, Kane, Sessegnon, Kulusevski, I mean, these are players that could really, really hurt you. I mean, you probably would want to at least have one player. Of course, if you want to go very safe, you go Son. But in this case, if you are probably chasing, I mean, you can go for Kane. Having said that, I still feel, I mean, Son, even if you don't captain him, it's fine. But I think you should have him in your team. So probably think of a way you can have Son. Maybe take a hit for somebody like a Sessegnon or a Kane. I mean, you can gamble on KDB, but I just feel that the Tottenham players are a better bet this week. Even Kane as an option is a lot. I know that they play different positions. Let's say Kane and a KDB, but I think Kane as an option is still a lot better than KDB this week. So yeah, that's where I stand here. Emerson, Foster, Cancelo, Robertson. I'm assuming that's Matip, Fofana, White, Mount, Zaha, Coutinho, KDB, Son, Weghorst, and Ketia, Gelhardt. You have 1.9 in the bank. Transfer. You're looking for a transfer. I mean, I'm okay playing Cancelo, Robertson, and Matip. Fofana and White can stay on the bench. Then so it's a back three basically. Then you have Mount, Zaha, Coutinho, KDB, Son. All five good options. Coutinho can be somebody else, or you can probably take out Weghorst as well. I mean, if you want to do a forward transfer, you can do Weghorst to maybe a Wilson if you are looking to chase, for example. If you're trying to play a bit safer, then you maybe go Tony. I think he's also a good option. This is one route that you can go for. Otherwise, you can also do Coutinho to maybe you don't have a Leicester mid. Maybe you can do Madison again. If you are chasing, you probably go Mans. If you are trying to protect rank, then you go Madison. So there are options there. You already have Mount, who's probably the best midfielder apart from the likes of Son and KDB this week, even Mane for that matter. If you have the money, I mean, you can even do Coutinho to I think Diaz. Just see if I think it should be possible. So you can even do that and play with an Nketiah and Weghorst. Maybe even for fun. I mean, I'll still play a back three. I don't think so. Leicester probably keep a clean sheet. So yeah, these are different moves that you can make. Take out Weghorst for a different forward, and probably take out Coutinho for a different mid. You can even take a hit for these two moves, and I think that should be fine. Gabriel Jesus, a good punt. I think the front three for Man City probably would be Foden, Jesus, and Sterling. I think that's the front three that I am expecting. Um, he's a good punt, but he's a risky option. If I have to go for somebody, I'll probably look at a Diaz, which probably, of course, he plays in a different position. But I mean, if I had to punt on somebody, I'll probably look at somebody like a Diaz who can, or I think he will get majority minutes. When it comes to forwards, I think you can also look at a Wilson, for example. If you feel that Tony's a bit safer, you can look at Wilson. I think he did really well against Arsenal. He was a bit unlucky to not, score or get something from that game. But if you saw that game, I mean, he was absolutely on it. He was everywhere. I mean, he was running across the pitch. He could have scored more goal, maybe at least one goal, if not two. He also broke his tooth, if you saw. So yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that Wilson starts and he does well this game. Generally, Newcastle have been really good when Wilson has been playing. That's a different conversation that he's been injured most of the times and he's very injury prone. But I think Newcastle with Wilson, the team is they become a lot better in terms of attack, and Wilson is that explosive player like a Jesus as well, right? Jesus can score those 3-4 goals. I mean, on an odd game week, Wilson can also score against a Burnley team. I mean, there's yes, Burnley might just keep it very tight, might shut up shop to depending on how Leeds and what the result is there. But Gabriel Jesus is a risky punt. I mean, there's always a chance that Mahrez comes in, for example, and then he plays instead of Jesus. I'll be probably a little bit more comfortable with Wilson playing this week when we just talk about minutes. So I think I personally will go there. But if you want to go with Jesus and if you're doing chasing etc., then I think you can go for it. Man City fans don't care about human rights. I mean, yeah. I'm not sure what to say there, but yeah. I mean, let's meet and mourn together. uh, oh my God, yeah. I mean, last game week was trouble to be honest. I mean, I think from 29K and not having Madison and Richarlison, I know a lot of people captained Richarlison. I think he was much more captain than a Madison, and we absolutely got hammered. I think we lost about 45-50 points, maybe even more on captaincy, because I think we went Son. I'm not sure, but I think we went Son in terms of captaincy. But yeah, I mean, I won't really say it was a bad decision because the players that at least I went for on my team were Zaha and Inks, and I think there was potential there. But I mean, FPL did it thing. I mean, FPL just went crazy, and I mean, we weren't able to capitalize, and that's fine. I mean, it's all a learning. But I think over the last few weeks, I think a lot of people who have not gone for KDB captaincy in that 4 goal haul, they've not gone for Richarlison, maybe Madison, maybe even Vardy, etc. I don't think so. Those are bad calls. It's just the wrong side of variance. And and I think that will always happen. So I mean, it's fine. There's a lot to learn in terms of what we did wrong, but I think the last week was not really a mistake, to be honest. Do you think Havertz starts? I think he does. He did come on in the last game. I mean, he looked okay in training, but whether he's match fit or not, I can't be 100% sure about it. But I think it's probably going to be one player starting between Havertz and Lukaku probably. But yeah, I think Havertz has a decent chance of starting because Lukaku has also played a fair amount of minutes over the past few weeks, and I mean, there's a chance that if Havertz is match fit, he might get the nod. So yeah, I mean, I'll probably be a little bit more confident about Havertz starting than last week. Maybe about 70-30 chance of him starting. Mm, Foden to Madison or Zaha to Barnes. Foden to Madison is okay if you're protecting rank. Zaha to Barnes. I mean, I don't really like both. I mean, Foden can absolutely do well this week. You don't really need Madison. Uh, and Zaha to Barnes. I mean, if you're chasing, then this makes more sense. But again, uh, these are not necessary moves in my opinion. I think both Foden and Zaha are good picks. I have Alonso. What to do with him? I think you wait for some more information, some more news on Alonso. I mean, we are assuming that Alonso and James play because a lot of free hitters have them in their teams. A lot of people have a double up on Chelsea, but let's just hope that we get some news. But I think if we don't get some news, then probably just play him. And just if you don't have a bench, then you probably take him out for somebody else. But if you have a decent bench, maybe even if you have somebody who can come from your bench and give you at least appearance points. I mean, when I say appearance points, maybe that person is starting, that player would play 90 minutes. He might not haul or he might not have a lot of potential for FPL points. But if you have somebody who can cover you off in terms of, if Alonso doesn't play and if you need points, then you're fine. But if you really have no bench, then probably you take a call. I think you probably ship out Alonso for somebody else if you don't get any information. Is it worth the -4 to go Saka to Diaz? I mean, if you're chasing, then it absolutely makes a lot of sense. But again, if you're protecting, then maybe not. If you're playing safe, then definitely not. If you're maybe trying to protect or maybe trying to chase rank in terms of your mini league leader, if you're trying to gain few positions, if you're trying to gain rank specifically, then I think it's a good move. But I think if you're playing safe, then Saka is a decent option. Set my free hit on team unless there's news. Allison, Alonso, James, Robertson, Cancelo, Sessignon, Barnes, Mount, Diaz. I think it's a very, very strong team. I really like that team. With Ericsson and Ketia on the bench to cover the Chelsea defense. I mean, I like that team, to be honest. I'll probably keep Ericsson first and Ketia second on the bench, but I like it. There's a risk involved, but you have players that can cover off, your Chelsea defense. So I think it's good. I've gone for Trent over Laporte because I have Cancelo. I mean, yeah, it's. I think it's a decent choice. I mean, Trent. I think Trent starts this one. I don't think so. He gets rested. There is a tiny bit of possibility that he maybe gets hooked off a little early in the game, but generally Trent doesn't. Gets. I mean, I've not seen him getting subbed very often. So I think it's still a good chance that Liverpool keep a clean sheet. If Aston Villa come out all attacking, if they, because of some uncertainty, because of some nerviness in terms of, City feeling a lot more pressure than probably Liverpool, because Liverpool will absolutely go for it, go out there, enjoy themselves, get into a good rhythm, get ready for the Champions League, and in this process, they'll try to, put some pressure on Man City because there'll be a lot of people in the Man City camp who will be, taking notes, taking an idea in terms of what's happening in that Liverpool game, and the Liverpool team is also going to be doing very very similar. So I think it's a good move. The upside with Trent, it looks a lot more than maybe a Laporte. Trent will, of course, he'll be attacking a lot more. He'll be going forward a lot more. He can be a threat on set pieces. He is good in crossing. I mean, I don't really have to explain how Trent is better than any other defender, right? He's generally one of the most top scoring defenders for a reason. So I think it's a good move. Got nothing to play for first in mini league by 70 points to take. I mean, yeah, take a risk with double Chelsea defense unless we get some information that Chelsea is definitely fielding maybe second team players, maybe academy players, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, if there's no information available, if we don't get anything at all, I think you just stick with it, and since you have a decent bench to cover off, I think it's fine. Son, Madison, and Mount. Sticking with Son so far. Captaincy, I think Son. We've not really talked about captaincy a lot, but Son is a really good option if you're playing safe, if you're trying to protect rank, if you are trying to protect your mini league lead, for example. I think in that case, you absolutely go Son. I think he's the safest option to go for. It's just not that he's safe because he has a lot of ownership and everybody is going for Son. So okay, let's just also go for Son. It's absolutely not that. He also has a really good potential to haul against Norwich, who, as I've mentioned already, they're a really bad team in terms of defense. They concede a lot of chances. I think Son will also be a lot more motivated to play this game because there is the Golden Boot, title on the line, and I think he can absolutely get that because we are also having doubts in terms of Salah starting this game week or not, right? So there's an absolute chance of that happening as well, and I think safer is absolutely Son. In case if you want to go a bit differential, I think you go for somebody like a Kane. If you don't have a Kane, for example, you can even go for KDB. Then the other set of options kind of come where you go for higher chasing options like a Mane, for example. You also go for Mount. I think Mount, if he starts, he'll do really really well against Watford, unless Watford play like a prime Barcelona, which is definitely not gonna happen. But I think I'm not too bullish on Madison because there's a chance that he gets rested and doesn't get a start, and that's the reason I'm a little bit more confident about the likes of Mount, Mane, Diaz, even Diaz for that matter, right? I feel there's a high chance that Diaz might end up playing more minutes than Madison. I mean, that could absolutely happen. Opinions on playing Thiago Silva? If you have Silva, I mean, again, does Silva really need to play? I'm not too sure. Can different defenders get a chance this game week? Absolutely. If you have him, you play him. But if you can get him to maybe a Sessegnon, maybe a Liverpool defender, then I think those are the options to go for. In case if you have other fires to put out, and in case if you have a decent bench, then just keep him in your team and play him. 7 points behind in my mini league. Not sure if it's worth to do a -4. Have Coutinho and Richarlison with no money in the bank and one free transfer. What should I do? I think it depends on your mini league rival as well. In case if he doesn't have Coutinho and Richarlison, you can still take them out, go for a different midfielder, and then take a chance. I mean, I would still rate a Mount a lot higher than a Coutinho this week because of the potential that he has. I know that you don't have many money, so I think Coutinho to a Mount might not be possible. But in this case, I mean, you can easily do Coutinho to a Mount, and then you can downgrade Richarlison to a different forward. You can go for an Nketiah, for example. I know he's not been talked about a lot, but I think he's still a decent option. There's a lot of chatter in the community that Lacazette will get a start, but I generally don't think so. He gets a start. I understand that this is probably his last game for the Arsenal team, but Arsenal still have a lot to play for. They would still want to field the strongest 11 they can, and I don't think so. Lacazette is a part of that strongest 11 at the moment. So even a -4, if you're going for a player who has a massive haul potential, and if you let's say want to captain that player, right? If you let's say if you have Son, for example, and you don't want to captain Son, getting in Mount and captaining Mount is a really really good option to go for. So I don't think so. Uh, there's a problem with taking a hit. Is just that which player are you getting for that hit is really really important, and whether your rival possibly would have that player or not. Because if he doesn't have that player and you get that player even for a hit and you captain him, that player really does well. I think it's going to be quite effective for you. I know there's a lot of variables involved and a lot of things might go wrong in this whole process, but I think what's there to lose, right? I mean, you are already behind in your mini league, and if you want to take a bit of a chance, I mean, absolutely do that. There's nothing wrong with it. Opinions on playing Saka. Arsenal is on high pressure. I think he starts this one for sure. I think yes, Arsenal has a lot of pressure, but I think they will be highly motivated to give their best. I don't think so. They'll be, of course, they will have this in the back of the mind that Tottenham already has one foot in the door in terms of the fourth position, but I still feel Arsenal have to give their all. Arteta would be motivated. I mean, I'm sure he would already be doing that over the past week, but I think there'll be a lot of pressure for sure. But I think at the end of the day, they've had a good season, and Arteta would want to get this final game out of the way and get the best result possible. I mean, they have to win this game. They have to give the best shot. Rest depends on, of course, their destiny is is not in their hands, and the likes of Son, Kane, etc. could do well against Norwich. Tottenham could take it from them, but I just feel, I mean, he's a good option. Yes, he's not the most different. I mean, he's nowhere close to being a differential, but I think if you are looking at a safe option, if you are trying to protect rank, trying to play safe, etc., I think Saka is a really good option. Wadi captaincy, good idea. I think it's a good idea. If you are chasing rank, there's a slight chance that he might miss out because again, like Madison, he's also played a lot of games. But I mean, we know that if he plays and he's playing against a Southampton team who are not that good in defending at the moment, I think it's a really good option. If you're playing safe, then probably not. But again, if you're chasing, if you are, maybe chasing a lot of ranks, a lot of points in terms of a mini league, for example, then I think in that case, it's a good idea to go for. Madison or Bowen, I think safer definitely has to be Madison. But in case if you're chasing out of the two, I think Bowen is the better pick. Who has a higher points potential this week? I think it's probably going to be probably Madison at this moment because Bowen is against a tricky Brighton team who could still, I mean, they could still end up conceding goals because Brighton also have certain ambitions in terms of their own league position. But I still feel Madison, if he starts, has a higher point ceiling as compared to a Bowen. Who to win the league? I still believe Liverpool. I mean, I know that something similar happened with United. I mean, not something similar, but yeah, I mean, we lost the season in the dying seconds. But I just hope that Liverpool doesn't win the title. I mean, again, no disrespect to Liverpool fans, but as you can see, I'm a United fan wearing a United jersey. I mean, it's the lesser of the two devils, right? I don't want either of them to win. But if I had to bet on something, or if I had to maybe gun to my head, if I had to give a choice, it has to be Man City. I can't see Liverpool winning, and especially with their with with the two cups that they won, with a Champions League final in play as well. If I mean, imagine if they get to a quadruple, it's I mean, you'll probably not stop hearing it from the Liverpool fans for a long time, and I'm very excited and very optimistic about the new season. Being a United fan, and I don't want all of that to overshadow the new direction that we're probably getting into. So yeah, I mean, yes, there's a chance. Football is a funny game. I mean, anything can happen. We've seen stories. We've seen how Madrid has kind of come back in the Champions League this season. So there's an absolute chance that anything can happen. But let's hope and assume that Man City is winning it. Um, Trent, Cancelo, Thiago Silva, Sessegnon, Son captain. You have Mount, Zaha, Madison is vice captain, which is interesting. Saka and Tony. Bench is Pickford, Laporte, Richarlison, Mateta. Any recommend changes? Not transfers. I'll keep. I mean, bench is Pickford, Laporte, Richarlison, Mateta. You have. I mean, Thiago Silva is probably the only one that I can change and I can get in Laporte because I think when it comes to starting, I think Laporte has a higher chance of starting than Thiago Silva. Who will keep a clean sheet? I think Chelsea has a higher ceiling in terms of keeping a clean sheet. I just feel, I mean, I probably would go Laporte. Personally, I'll go Laporte, but even if you go for Thiago Silva, considering that, you're thinking that he might start, first of all, I think that he's definitely going to get rested. I don't think so. Tuchel has to risk Thiago Silva for this particular game. Chelsea doesn't really have anything to play for. They've already locked into the third position, the third spot. And I mean, he doesn't have to play Silva, right? He can play one of the youngsters in the team and easily rest Silva for this game. So, yeah, I mean, Laporte is the only change in terms of the playing 11. Rest looks okay. Can you choose one of Alonso or Sessegnon for a hit? I think it has to be Sessegnon. I won't get Alonso for a hit, especially when he's at the risk of being benched. I think that's a pretty clear answer there. Ramsdale or Pope? I think I'll go Ramsdale. Everton could feel a weaker team. Richarlison, even if he's playing, there's a chance that Richarlison can also get benched. Absolutely, there's a chance for that. But even if they are playing, they might play a weaker team. I mean, Arsenal are a decent defense. I mean, they've struggled defensively over the past few weeks, but they're still okay. They're still okay. That's fine. You're moaning about Son captaincy last week and not Richarlison or Madison. I went for. Oh yeah, I mean, I absolutely forgot about that. Mikolenko captain was how much points did he score? I'm not sure I remember it. But I think he maybe scored a cup. I don't know. Maybe he scored 6-7 points. I might be wrong there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Mikolenko captaincy was absolutely brave. I mean, hats off to you for even thinking about that because a lot of people are very scared when it comes to captaincy. They'll always captain the safest player out there, and they'll probably not take a lot of chance. But hats off and commendable that you went for something. I mean, of course, there was a Hall potential in there, right? You never know. Everton could have kept clean sheets. Of course, they didn't, which was always a possibility. But yeah, I mean, still a brave call. Ramsdale, Trent, Laporte, James, Mount, Salah, KDB, Saka, Kulusevski, Pukki, and Ketia. Thinking of doing Salah to Son and Pukki to Tony. You're choosing a 25-point gap to get into top 10k. Personally, I don't think so. Going Salah to Son and Pukki to Tony is gonna get you to 10k. I mean, there's a high chance that even if you, let's say, if you make these transfers and you don't captain Son, then you lose rank. If you captain Son and he does well, the absolute gain, I mean, you will get FPL points. But because so many managers above you will have Son, maybe will have captaincy, because I think Son captaincy is going to be very popular, at least in the top 10k, maybe even top 20, 30, 50k for that matter. After that, maybe people, start taking a lot of risks, start taking a few chances. So yeah, personally, I don't think so. Son captaincy and Tony will get you to 25 points. I mean, if you want to chase that gap, I think you probably go Salah to Mane, for example, and captain Mane. I know it's a risky strategy, and you might end up losing rank, but that's probably one direction where you can go, which can give you a lot of absolute points. But yeah, I mean, not having Son is also risky, because if Son hauls, then you are absolutely not getting into the top 10k. So it's a tricky call. Maybe if you're not convinced, and if you feel that Son is absolutely going to hurt your rank, you get in Son, you captain him, and maybe not get a Tony. I mean, Pookie to if the money is possible, then probably do Pookie to a Wilson, because I think Wilson also has a good haul potential in him this week, and I think Pookie will be slightly higher. I mean, he'll definitely be slightly higher owned, or higher owned than a Wilson. But yeah, it's a tricky position to be in, because you don't have Son. His ownership is gonna be absolutely crazy. I mean, I won't be surprised if it's anywhere close between 170 to 180k. And I'm definitely not captaining Son. At least I've made my mind on it. I mean, there's no point of captaining Son, right? If I'm at 79k, I think I'm at 79k, and if I'm at that rank, if I just want to give myself a chance, I'll probably go to a Mount, to a Mane, to a Son. Not even a Son. Maybe I'll just go absolutely crazy. Yes, there's a chance that I can, I can probably lose out on points, and I can maybe, go outside 100k. But at that rank, for me personally, again, I think a lot of people might say that it matters to them that they finish in the top 100k. But after what happened last game week, I mean, I'm okay taking a bit of chance. A few. I mean, I think I'm taking a -12 as well. So, I mean, there's a lot to lose, but ठीक है. I mean, it's absolutely fine. Um, we'll take up the next one. Kane or Lukaku? Playing safe, I think it has to be Kane. Lukaku, if you're chasing, I think is a good option. You can even captain him. There's a slight risk that he might not start this one, but again, depending on your game state, depending on how you are seeing the final game week, seeing your mini league, seeing your rank, etc., I think based on that you take that call. KDB captain, since he could play false nine. I think Ford. I mean, yeah, I think there's a chance that he plays false nine, and he's a decent captaincy option. I'm not too against it, but he's somewhere in the middle, right? I mean, he's not as explosive. When I say explosive, maybe what I mean is that he's not gonna give you a similar rank gain to somebody, let's say like a Mount, for example, a Mane, for example. I think there'll be a fair few amount of people who will be captaining KDB, because I think a lot of people are seeing the best captaincy option as KDB, especially after Son and Kane. So I think it's a decent option. I personally, again, depends on where you are, right? In terms of your rank, in terms of your league, etc. If you're really behind like me, or if you're even further behind, then you go absolutely crazy with a massive differential. But I think if you are somewhere in the middle, maybe you're some points off in your mini league, then you probably just captain KDB. Mount will start, I think so. There's a high chance that Mount starts. Mount didn't start the last game against Leicester, so there is a chance that he will start this game. And if he starts this game, I'm assuming there's a lot of points in him in this particular game week. So let's see. Alonso or Tony. I mean, I would, if it's a question regarding who's gonna play in your 11, start with Alonso. If he doesn't start, I doubt he's probably gonna come on. and then you can have Tony as your first bench. And I mean, if you look at the upside with both, right, Alonso definitely has a higher upside as compared to a Tony. Yes, Tony's on penalties, but then Alonso can give you that extra clean sheet points, which is an absolute possibility against a Watford team. So I think I'll start. If this is a question about starting in your 11, I think Alonso would be my pick. Did the move, hey Ansh? No, I haven't done the move yet. We'll probably wait for more time. I mean, there's a lot of time to go in terms of the deadline. So we have about, I think, 1 hour 50 minutes, something like that. So we'll sit patient for some more time. We'll wait for some more news. We'll see if we can get some more information, and let's see. Yeah, I will definitely update my team on Instagram like last time. I think it'll be closer to the deadline. So keep an eye out for that. Excuse me. Is Mount having an injury? He was seventh to take the penalty and didn't come on against Leicester. I think he might be managing a small knock. And yeah, there is a chance that he might be, having something which is not made public and stuff like that. But I think if he's decently fit, I don't know what I mean by decently fit, but I think if he's close to fitness, I think there's a high chance that Mount starts this one. Or it could potentially be just a rest, because he's also played a lot of games. Of course, he's had a very draining season. He's also been really well or played really well for Chelsea. So that could just be a regular rest. There's a 20-point gap between me, second and first in my mini league. Thoughts on going without Son, Kane, and KDB in my free hit team in an attempt to overtake my mate who has all of these big hitters. I mean, I won't have KDB. That's an absolute surety. I'll take a chance without having KDB. I understand, and I have to tell you very, very clearly, very frankly, that there's a chance that KDB can still haul, so that will give you a lot of negative rank. But I think you have to get one of Kane and Son. I think the option here to go for is probably Son, because is maybe he your the person you are up against that might just captain Son. And if you don't have Son and he's captaining Son, I mean that's a 2x point hit, right? So I'll still have Son in my team, and I'll try to chase different hauls, right? And you have to look what hauls you can chase. I mean, you can go for a Sessegnon, you can maybe go for a double Liverpool defense, maybe have different defenders in place. You can go for Barnes, you can go for Ericsson, Bowen. So there are a lot of options. Even a Mount, for example. If you're chasing, you probably definitely go, and 20 odd points behind, you definitely go for a differential captain. Let's say if your rival doesn't have a Mount and he is not planning to get one, then I think Mount is a really good option. You're captaining Mount, so your Mount captaincy would probably be against a Son captaincy, and that itself could give you a good boost if Son maybe doesn't get a lot of returns. So yeah, I mean, I won't really go without Son, Kane, and KDB. That's a massive risk. But I'll probably just have Son as a cover, and I'll try to navigate my way by maybe having a Wadi, maybe a Lukaku as well. There are a lot of options that you can go for, and yeah, KDB is someone that you can definitely avoid. Salah to Mane and play Jesus, or Salah to Diaz and Jesus to Kane for a -4. Um, Salah to Mane and play Jesus, which is I think okay. Salah to Diaz, and I mean depends, right? Mane and Jesus as a combination, if you see those two players, they're I think they're going to be a massive differential. If you're chasing, if you're behind in your mini leagues, if you're maybe trying to make up points, then that combination looks really good. I mean, look at Mane; he's absolutely crazy. He can go ballistic in the last game week. The stats show that, the history shows that, the fixture is also there. But yeah, I mean, if you're chasing, then I think it's a really good combination. But if you're slightly in the middle or towards being very safe, then absolutely not go for the Mane and Jesus combination. I think in that scenario, Kane at least gives you that safety net in terms of his ownership. Yes, he also has a haul potential, and I think again, depending on your mini league rival, etc., if that at all comes into play, you probably go with Diaz and Kane, which is also a decent combination. It's Diaz is I think is going to be a good differential. I think he starts this game against Liverpool, and Kane. I mean, there's no way, unless Kane was badly affected by food poisoning and he's not even able to stand and walk. I don't think so. There's a chance that Kane gets arrested. Kane definitely plays this one, and he has haul potential. So depending on game state, I mean, a lot of your decisions, guys, I think they're going to be based on game state. whether you're trying to chase rank, whether you're trying to protect rank. And we've done a couple of posts. I also did a video on it, which was last minute final tips. So in case if you want to get some more idea there individually, I think you can go there, probably check a few sections. I think it was the last section of the video. So you can check that. I think that will really help you in terms of making decisions, in terms of going for which players, right? I think that should be really helpful. Sessegnon and Bowen mount for Mikolenko and Gordon. Is it? I think it's definitely worth a -4. Mikolenko and Gordon. I'm not even sure if both of them start. I mean, I'm not sure of the Everton lineup as of now. We've not had any information, etc. But yeah, uh, let's see. Let's see. Overall, I think it's a good move. Sessegnon and I personally like Mount a lot. I think there's a huge upside with Mount. Bowen, I mean, he's playing well. He's in good form, but on the other hand, he's facing a Brighton defense, which has been a good defense for most of the season. I think that's been a good defense, and I think if I want to take a hit for it, I will probably go Sessegnon and Mount. I think there's a huge potential for FPL points there. Will Ziyech play for the last game week? I mean, he absolutely could. Right now, I mean, it's difficult to predict the front three for Chelsea at the moment. I generally think Mount starts, but beyond that, I mean, it could be Lukaku and Ziyech. It could be Havertz and Ziyech. Uh, I mean, there are different combinations. Maybe even Pulisic. I don't think so. Pulisic starts this one. Werner's definitely out. That is something that I'm pretty sure and confident about. But yeah, I mean, Ziyech, it's very tricky. I use triple captain or free hit. I mean, if how do you have two chips available? I'm not sure. Uh, in case if you have two chips, I'm so sorry to say that you can only use one chip in this week. Uh, and I mean, if I had to go for a chip, I'll probably go free hit over triple captain, because I think there's a lot more to gain from a free hit. But I mean, yeah, you can't play both chips this this week, of course. Mikolenko didn't score 6 or 7. I mean, I'm so sorry. I mean, yeah, if he scored 2 points in a double game week, then yeah, that's absolutely telling in terms of what happened. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't stop smiling and laughing. But yeah, yeah, Mikolenko, yeah, it was a brave call. Zaha to Kulu and Richarlison to Wadi for a -4. I mean, Zaha in itself in isolation, I think it's a good option to go for, good move to go for. Richarlison to Vardy, I think it's a great move. Richarlison might not even start. Yes, there's still a slight chance that Vardy doesn't start, but I think if you're chasing, then probably do this move. I mean, Kulusevski, I think his ownership is also going to be decently owned. I mean, he's going to be decently owned. I don't think so. He's going to be a lot less owned or stuff like that. I think his ownership is going to be decent. So I think, yeah, I mean, you go Zaha to Kulu and Richarlison to Wadi if you're chasing for sure. Thank you so much, TGG. I hope I got that right. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the stream, and I hope whatever advice or whatever at least thought process I have helps you in your final push. Last season, Allison scored a header. I mean, yeah, I clearly remember that. I hope, and I'm assuming all of you also do. Maybe he scores a header to. I mean, if he scores a header to win Liverpool the league, I mean, he has to be the most iconic keeper of all times, right? I mean, getting a goal like that in itself is absolutely crazy, and the kind of circumstances that he got that goal in, it was immense for Liverpool and their season. And yeah, I mean, if he gets something like that, it'll be really crazy. I mean, he has to go. I mean, everybody will remember that moment. Any leaked news or anything yet? Let's just quickly see. We've not had. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's anything yet. I mean, we've got some news saying that it's not a leak, but all the guys who were reported ill for Tottenham, they've traveled. Romero's the only player that hasn't traveled, so I'm assuming that the likes of Kane, Son, even Sessegnon, I think they're okay, and they should start this game. Let's just quickly scroll through and see if we have anything else. Nothing as of now. I don't see anything as of now. Of course, we'll keep you guys updated in case if we have anything, but I don't think so. We have anything as of now. Yeah, I mean just the Spurs news that all the players who were reported ill, they have traveled. So I think that's good news for people who are getting in Kane. That's good news for people who are captaining Son as well. Getting in Son, captaining Son, getting in Sessegnon as well. So I think, yeah, yeah, nothing else as of now. Madison, Vardy, Havertz for a hit. What do you reckon or no hits? My rank is 11k. I mean, Madison, I probably won't get Havertz. If your rank is 11k and if you're trying to get into 10k, I mean, you don't have to get in Madison. I mean, I think Vardy will be a lot more explosive to your rank, because I think even in the top 10k, there'll be a lot of people who might not own Vardy. And in case if you don't want to take any hits, I mean, you just play your team and probably go for a differential captain. I think again, around the 10k mark, you might not go for a differential captain because getting into the top 10k with one or two differentials might be okay, right? So unless you don't have any differentials in your team and you don't have any players who can give you a huge rank boost, I think you just go with the team you have. Otherwise, you get a Vardy. I think out of these three options, if I had to take a hit for somebody, it'll definitely be Vardy. I think there's a good haul potential in there, and I think he can absolutely go big. Salah to Son and Joao Pedro to Tony for a -4. Yes, I think they're good moves. Son is a good captaincy option. So if you're trying to protect rank, trying to play safe, trying to be, trying to defend your rank, I think it's a really good option. Even Tony, for that matter, his ownership is going to be slightly, of course, a lot lesser than somebody like a Son, but in terms of absolute haul potential and potential FPL points, I think Tony has a good haul or haul potential this week. Leeds, I think they will definitely go all out. I mean, they have to, right? I mean, they cannot just sit back and wait for things to happen because their goal difference is such that they have to get. I mean, they have to get a win, even if let's say Burnley is losing in that scenario, and then let's say if Leeds are drawing, then Leeds have to kind of make a call in terms of how do they approach the remaining game, depending on again what's the game state, how many minutes are remaining in the game, etc. But I think both these moves are really good. Thank you so much. Thank you for the question. Guys, we have a lot of time still left, about an hour and a half. We'll quickly browse through for more information. In the meantime, if you have any questions, if you have anything to say, to talk about, do let me know what you think about what's going to happen in terms of the Premier League. I mean, who do you guys think is going to win the Premier League? Are you thinking of it's going to be straightforward, Man City wins it, or do you think it's going to be something similar like United, like what we experienced almost a decade back? And it's going to be a Liverpool win. So do let me know what you think about it. Do even let me know what your thoughts are in terms of how you're seeing this game week panning out. What are your objectives? What are your ranks for this week? I mean, if you're okay sharing your rank, absolutely share those in the chat as well. And what are you expecting, or what's the objective that you have for game week 38? In the meantime, guys, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. You can also hit like if you have been liking the stream so far, or if you've liked the content that we've been doing for the whole year. Also subscribe to the channel. I think I can probably take a couple of minutes right now to talk about what's going to happen in the coming time. I think, of course, now FPL is ending, so there won't be any FPL content specifically, but I think we are kind of thinking about having a few playlists in place for this remaining 2 months. So there's definitely going to be transfer I mean, information on transfers. There are going to be videos. We will talk about transfer rumors. So there'll be separate playlists talking about that. There will be regular videos talking about which teams are eyeing which transfers, what are the rumors, what are the confirmed news. So in case if that really interests you, make sure that you tune into that as well. We're also kind of thinking of starting a United playlist where we talk about Man United, because there were a lot of requests in terms of starting something off United. So in case if that interests you as well, I think that's also going to be interesting. I think it's a big year for us in terms of a rebuild, and in terms of so many new things are happening, so many players leaving, so many a lot of the staff has also left. The whole direction in terms of which the club is kind of heading towards, I think that is changing. So might as well, have some fun with it, create some content, keep you guys engaged and interested. So that's also something we're also kind of trying to kind of get towards making a few videos around football. I mean, just specific, just regular videos where we show goals, show some highlights. I'm still not sure what that will be, but I think that's definitely in the works. And of course, before the FPL game is launched or before the FPL season is live, there will be some preseason. In fact, there'll be a lot of preseason content as well. So I think that should also kind of keep you interested. In case if you have anything in terms of, in case if you want to see anything on the channel, anything in terms of videos, etc., please feel free to reach out to me, on Instagram, on YouTube as well, and we can start a conversation. It would be tight. I think Villa would. I mean, yeah, I think it should be tight. Honestly, I feel. I mean, there's a lot of narrative in play, right? Because we feel that Aston Villa, of course, Steven Gerrard, he's probably going to help Liverpool, or at least going to make it a little bit easier for Liverpool and difficult for Man City, and try to kind of win it for Liverpool. And if he does that, I think Liverpool will absolutely go crazy. But I think Villa probably could make it. I'm not sure they'll be as expressive as probably people are thinking, because there's a chance that they defend deep, they stay in position, and they don't really explore and express themselves. So that's absolutely a chance of happening. And I think it really depends on how Man City, or what kind of state Man City are in, because I think Man City will definitely be nervous. So if they can kind of get into a rhythm early on in the game, not concede a sloppy goal because of how bad their defending has been, I think then I think Man City will get into a good rhythm. They will have most of the ball. I mean, there is no doubt about it that Aston Villa are going to play them on the counter, and Man City are gonna try to penetrate that Villa defense, which could hold back and sit back and make it very very difficult for Man City to break through. Can't believe United supporters are rooting for Man City. I mean, I know, man. I can't believe it myself that we are rooting for a Man City. I mean, when you look at it, right, you're rooting for the most core rivals that you can have, who are in the same city, who are the noisy neighbors, who have taken over Manchester. I mean, there's no denying that fact that they've taken over Manchester over the past few years. I mean, almost for a decade now, right? But yeah, I just don't want Liverpool to win. It's not hatred. Maybe it is. I'm not, again, no disrespect to any Liverpool fans, but I just can't see them winning the league with all that they've been winning and playing well. Because I have a lot of friends who support Liverpool, and I know for a fact that I won't hear the end of it. So I mean, yeah, it's nowhere close to being in an ideal scenario. But if I had to pick one gun to my head, it will be Man City. Excuse me. Zaha or Barnes to Mount. I think it'll be Zaha to Mount. If I had to make a decision on one of these players, I think it will be Zaha to Mount. I don't think so. I would want to take out Barnes for this game. There's a high chance that Barnes can start, and against a Southampton team, I think there's a good possibility that he does well. So if I had to take a call on one player, I think it'll be Zaha to Mount. Mount or Zaha? I mean, it's almost the same question. I think if I had to choose one, it will be Mount. Mount has a higher ceiling this week. He's also a good differential captaincy option. I might not be able to say that for Zaha as well. So if you're getting Mount, maybe for a hit, if you're trying to captain a player that you're getting in, maybe to gain some advantage, gain rank on your mini league rival, then I think Mount is a really really good option. City draw 2-2. Liverpool win 3-0. Leeds win. Oh, these are your predictions. Leeds win 2-1. Burnley lose 2-1. So basically, you're saying that Leeds go through, Burnley goes out. Arsenal win 2-0. Spurs win 4-0. United draw 2-2. West Ham win 2-1. I mean, drawing 2-2 is. Yeah. I think Villa will score. But yeah, let's see. I mean, could be a very nervy 1-0 sort of a game, and then I mean, I know I'm a United fan, but seeing that nervy game would be very very difficult. I mean, seeing that game at all, if I tune into that game, I think I still feel City will probably edge Villa. Could be 1-0, could be maybe a 2-1 if Villa score. I think City has enough firepower in them to kind of score two goals. Liverpool definitely wins. Maybe 2-0, maybe even 3-0, maybe even 4-0. I mean, I won't be surprised if Wolves really get battered. But yeah, all the other predictions I think are pretty bang on. I'm not too bullish on United. I still feel that there's a high chance that we lose. So yeah, it's just being too realistic at the moment rather than being, slightly optimistic. Son and Tony for -4 or Son and Wadi for -8. If you're chasing, then if you're massively chasing, I mean, if you are really far, really behind, then it's Son and Wadi for -8. If you're somewhere in the middle, you probably, you are chasing, but you probably are not that far behind, whether it's your 10K objective, 100K objective, 1 million, or whatever, 2 million, or whatever rank you have. Or in your mini league as well, if you are maybe, let's say, between 1 to 10 points behind, then I think I'll still go Tony. But if it's beyond that, then I think Wadi for a -8 makes more sense. If City win the Prem, Villa gets 15 million due to clause added in Grealish's contract. So I mean, I mean, how much do you think that's going to play in pick? I mean, it's a different narrative. I mean, it's not a wrong narrative at all, but it's just a different narrative. I still feel the Gerrard, Liverpool narrative is a lot stronger. Of course, that's not gonna give any money to Gerrard or to Liverpool. But yeah, I mean, let's see. Who to start in Ketia or Zaha? If I had to start one, I'll probably, again, spring back to the same concept. If you're chasing, then I think you go Zaha. If you're going safer, then you go Nketiah, because I think Nketiah will be decently owned. There is whole potential in both of them. Now, which one is expected to get more points? I think Zaha can outscore Nketiah if United play really bad. But just because of the difficulty of the opposition, I think you probably might think Nketiah. So, yeah, I mean, safe is definitely Nketiah. Risky, or maybe, you're doing catch up, etc. I think then it's Zaha. I'm sorry. Salah to Son, Cancelo to Sessegnon, Mount to Mane. Looking to stay in the top 10K. I mean, you can still stay in the top 10K with Mount. You don't really have to get a Mane, to be very honest. Salah to Son is good. Cancelo to Sessegnon is also good. For a -4, it's good, and you can have Mount. I don't think so. You have to go. I mean, yes, the hit could be really good, and Mane could really blast off. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to stay in the top 10K, then I probably won't take the -4, because I think Mount is also a good option this week. This is my second season of FPL. I hope you've had a good season. 6.8K. I mean, that's a really, really good rank. I know that you might feel a little bit off, a little sad that you dropped from 2.5K. But let me tell you, even for a regular season, I mean, even if you've played FPL for 10 years, a rank of 6.8K is still very good. I mean, there's a huge bubble in terms of this top 10K, and you have to finish in top. I mean, there's no necessity that you have to finish in top 10K, and who has set this metric? I mean, Fantasy Premier League has not set this metric. It's just the people who kind of made this bubble in terms of the top 10K. And I think if you follow FPL Wire, if you follow Late Riser and Zofar as well, I think they also spoke about, and very passionately about, this top 10K debate, where I think a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment kind of kicks out of the game, especially when you are chasing, or you have this bubble of top 10K in your head. Is just, I mean, for me, I think it's also a lot about having fun. Of course, if you're a serious player, you will have certain objectives in play. You'll have certain ideas in terms of where you see yourself in the game. But I mean, it's still a pretty good rank. um Thank you for really appreciate your comment. And yeah, I mean, I know the YouTube community is a growing community now, and I really hope that a lot of Indian managers and a lot of Indian players kind of also come in, because uh, in fact, one update, if you guys are not aware, there's right now, rank 2 in the world is an Indian player. I mean, and if he wins, I think he's Suvanch FPL, and if he wins this season, I think he's going to be the first Indian who ever wins the FPL. So I think that's going to be massive for the Indian fans, Indian community, Indian FPL players. And I think yeah, I mean, the community is only going to get stronger, only going to get better. It's actually quite difficult now, to be honest. I mean, and I have not been, I am nowhere close to being an expert. I just love the game, love talking about it, and I like to just put out my thoughts, make it a bit more enjoyable for myself and for you guys. But when I started playing, I mean, it was still slightly easier because there was a lot less content available on Twitter. There were lot less active managers on Twitter in the community. There were a lot less, YouTube channels as well who were talking about FPL, who were sharing about their ideas, helping people to do a lot better. So there's a lot of content available, and that's actually quite tough. So coming back to your point, I mean, 6.8k rank is actually pretty good. Vegas to Tony for a -4, I think I'll do it. Even if it's chasing, even if it's I mean, in any scenario, I think it's a decent move. Tony, I think definitely outscores Vegas in this week, and I think it's a good pick. Ramsdale, Trent, Robertson, Alonso, Shar, Amate, Salah, De Bruyne, Saka, Bruno Gimenez. I really like that pick. Gordon, Richarlison, Tony Watkins. Should I get rid of Salah and bring in Son, Diaz, Mane for a -4? For Gordon to Madison Barnes. I mean, if you're chasing, then I think you go. I mean, you can absolutely take out Salah, and I think there's a lot of merit in it because Salah's. Let's say even if he starts, right, I'm not very sure if he plays beyond 45 or maybe 60 minutes. And if he doesn't start, he's probably going to come on for the last 20-30 minutes. So there's a lot of upside or a lot of advantage. I won't really call it upside, but a lot of advantage if you get rid of Salah. His ownership is also dropping. There's a lot of people who are, trying to get rid of Salah and probably go for other picks. So if you're currently at 5k, you have to first decide whether you want to push more, push better, and probably I'm not sure how much of a difference will be between 1k and 5k at the moment. I've not looked at live FPL, but if it's not a lot and if it's manageable, and if you feel that you are looking to go into that direction, then you definitely get somebody like a Mane, for example, and you captain Mane. I mean, if you're okay taking that much risk. But in case if you want to protect your rank, protect top 10k, you feel that going upwards might be a bit tricky right now. So I'll probably just try and stay there and protect rank. Then you probably just get Son and captain him, because I think Son with captaincy in the top 10k, I think it's going to be a very popular move. And I think you can't go wrong there, right? Even if Son blanks, which I don't think so that's going to happen. But even if Son blanks, I think there's still hope for you, because a lot of other managers are also in the same boat, and they'll also be struggling, or they'll also suffer. Suffering is a strong word, but they will be at a disadvantage as compared to people who are going for punts and chasing in the game. So yeah, so based on that, you take that call. Gordon to Barnes and Madison, again the same conversation, right? So if you're trying to protect rank, then you do Salah to Son, and then Gordon to Madison. If you're trying to push towards a better rank, or maybe a mini league, for example, as you've mentioned, right? Then you go Mane and Barnes, and you just save those transfers, of course, closer to deadline. Make one of them as your captain, and then just hope that they come for you. Son doesn't really do a lot of damage, because if let's say if a Mane gets benched, I mean, there's absolutely a chance that Mane can get benched. Yeah, we are expecting him to start, but if he gets benched, maybe if Barnes also gets limited minutes, maybe he doesn't do a lot, and if Son really goes berserk, then I mean, you're definitely out of 10k. So keep that angle in mind, and know at least understand the risk, understand what you can lose, and if you're okay in the hope of pushing a lot further forward, then probably do that. Otherwise, if again, there's also middle argument here. If you want to go a bit punty, you can go Son, of course, make captain, so that will probably protect your 10k rank, but you can go for a Barnes instead. I mean, you don't have to go for Madison for absolute safety. You can try to take a risk with Barnes, who also has a good haul potential this week, so that also might work. It's kind of a middle ground. I'm not sure it's probably going to help you or not, but I think that's where at least I am thinking of this situation. KDB to Son, or keep KDB and buy Sessegnon instead. Again, the same conversation. If you're chasing, then KDB to keep KDB maybe. I think Son is a very safe option, and he really gives you that protection in terms of rank. And probably you can keep KDB and buy Sessegnon. Try to hit the Spurs team and try to gain advantage in that aspect and in that space. And you just hope that Son doesn't really hurt your rank. But if in case if you are trying to protect from somebody, protect in a mini league, you may be trying to cover off players in your mini leagues. Maybe some of your rivals have Son, and you're a bit scared that you don't have Son and you might lose out on rank, then maybe in that case, you get Son. But otherwise, I think if you're okay with that risk, KDB plus Sessignon is also not a bad option. But yeah, I mean, it totally depends on what game state you have in play. Pushing for mini league, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Then you can go for Barnes and Mane as well. But yeah, there's absolutely a risk there. Isn't Richarlison bound to get limited minutes? Any news on him? Yes, there are chances. We'll quickly check. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a chance that Richarlison might get rested. Um and yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't get rested, he might play with a weaker squad, might not be as effective as he's been over the past few weeks, especially last week. And yeah, I mean, his points potential also against an Arsenal team who will definitely, at least try to be a lot stronger and try to not concede, try to play on the front foot. I think Richarlison's, I mean, yes, anyone can score an FPL and you can get a haul from anybody, but I mean, they're better picks than Richarlison this week. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, haven't not seeing anything as of now. So we've got some information by Fabrizio Romano, who's mentioned in his tweet that Alonso has not changed his plans. He's set to leave Chelsea this summer. He wants to return to Spain, and Barcelona are in advanced talks. So I mean, if he's not coming, and if he's set his mind, and if he's very very sure that he's not gonna stay at Chelsea, then I think Alonso could start as well. I mean, yeah, this could potentially boost his chances for a starting 11 spot, right? So yeah, I mean that's what it is right now. Can't see anything else at the moment. Yeah, I mean nothing very very nothing that comes out and gives us a inkling in terms of any lineups at the moment. No, any nothing. No lineup news or leaks for that matter. But yeah, there is some information around Alonso that he's probably not staying at. I mean, he's probably made his mind and made his decision to leave Chelsea, and I think Barcelona are in advanced talks. So if that is true, and I think it's from Romano, right? So it's a very sensible and a very trustable source. So in that case, I think Alonso's chances of starting, they go really high up, and I think he definitely plays the last game for Chelsea. Would you transfer in Diaz or Foden? Want to captain a differential this week? I'll definitely transfer in Diaz first, and I think I'll captain him. I think he has a higher ceiling than a Foden this week. I mean, yes, City options are actually good. Villa, not all of a sudden Villa has become the best defense in the league, and City might struggle. Yes, game state would be a factor because I mean City would definitely be a little nervy in terms of the start. But I think if I had to punt on somebody, I'll definitely go Diaz because I think Klopp will play almost his strongest 11 in this game because in football, rhythm is and I spoke about this in my last minute tips video as well. Rhythm is a really important thing in football, right? And managers like Klopp, managers like Tuchel, managers like Pep, etc. They've come out and they've mentioned this a lot of times that before such an important final, I mean, yes, there could be some rotation, but he would want to give minutes to almost his entire first team. There could be slight rotation. There could be bench appearances for a few players, and there could be limited minutes for those players in the starting 11. But I think, yeah, I mean, if I had to go for somebody, I think Diaz is a really good option. Is it worth to take a -8 transferring Vegas to Tony playing bench boost? I mean, no, I don't think so. Worth taking a -8 to get to Tony. I think Vegas. I mean, I don't expect Vegas to really give you a lot of points, but if you're getting in Tony, you're taking a -8 for it. I mean, I'm assuming it's a additional -4. Vegas, let's say if he plays, gives you 2 points. Tony at least has to give a minimum of 6 points to come to parity, and then anything above and beyond gets you some advantage. So yes, there's a chance of that happening. And if you feel that Tony can absolutely go mad this game week, you probably do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I've also done the same thing. I've also gotten Tony for a hit. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too against. If you're a risk averse player, if you don't like if you don't like taking a lot of hits, then I think in that scenario you probably just play Weghorst. But I think it's not a bad move because Tony has a haul potential, and it's definitely a lot higher than a Weghorst this week. Best attacking players apart from Watkins, Tony, Richarlison. I think Wilson is a great punt. If you want to punt or if you're looking for a player in that category, I think Wilson could be a great option. He did really well against Arsenal. Was unlucky in terms of not getting anything in that game. But against Burnley, yeah, I mean, you expect Burnley to keep it tight, probably play low block, and try to keep it very make it difficult for somebody like a Newcastle to play. But I still feel Wilson in that Newcastle team makes both of them a lot better. So I think if you're looking to attack and if you're looking for a different option among forwards, I think Wilson is actually a good option. Um, yeah, I mean you've already covered Tony. Otherwise, Tony would have been a pick. In case if you want to go a bit safer, maybe go Nketiah. But I mean, last game might as well take a punt. Might as well take a few chances. And I think Wilson can give you that haul that you're looking for. Bruno Fernandes punt, see him playing well with Ten Hag in the stadium and Europe on the line. I mean, I just feel I'm more comfortable punting on a Mane or a Diaz or a Mount. Of course, Diaz and Mount are in a different price bracket and a different price range. But even if I'm punting, I'll probably look at Mane. And if I'm of course changing positions and I'm probably looking at a forward, then the likes of Vardy, Lukaku, etc. Just not sure how United will turn up. Yes, there would be Ten Hag in the stands, and he will be watching of how United play. There could be motivation. There could be players trying to impress him and all of that stuff. And I mean, does it really matter to United players whether they play Europa or Conference? It matters to the manager, maybe it matters to the fans, but I'm just not sure what kind of a mindset would players be in. So if you want to take a punt, go ahead, but I'm just not too bullish on a Fernandes punt. I mean, his numbers also haven't been that great, right? I mean, he's still top in terms of chance creation, etc. over the season, but I mean, it's just that Ronaldo is also not playing, and I'm just not too sure. At least two of my three Chelsea. I mean, yeah, I think they should start. Yeah, they should start. James, let's see. Let's see if we get anything on James yet. Um, I don't think so. Right now, I don't think so. We have anything on James. We'll quickly check. Um, I mean, uh, it's just actually funny in terms of what people make out. In terms of what could be the lineups, etc. I mean, Liverpool has tweeted our final Premier League match day of the season, and the picture that they have put has Mane, Jota, and Diaz in it, and a lot of people are kind of trying to make sense out of where is Salah and why is Salah not there. So yeah, I mean, yes, there's a high chance that Salah doesn't start, but I don't think so. You can make that from this make that out from this picture. I mean, let's see if we get any more news on that. But yeah, I mean, closer to the deadline, I'm assuming there'll be a lot of rumors. I mean, there will be definitely somebody just tweeting out of the blue that the likes of Kane and Sessegnon are not starting. Maybe a very popular player this week is not starting. I mean, I'm pretty sure all that stuff is definitely going to go out. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think so. There's anything else yet. Take Kulusevski or Saka out for Barnes. I mean, fixture wise, I'll keep Kulusevski. And maybe if you're planning, I mean, if you're okay taking a bit of a risk, then you probably, you know, I mean, you probably take out Salah because I think Saka. Why did I say Salah? Saka. I think Saka is gonna be at least I'm not sure how much his ownership will be because he's also had a lot of people selling him. But I think Saka will definitely be higher owned than Kulusevski. So I think if you're okay taking that chance, taking a bit of a risk, then keep Kulusevski. Has the better fixture, could do really well in terms of providing to the likes of Kane and Son. And yeah, I think Saka to Barnes is probably going to be my option. Keep Ericsson and Nketiah's first bench. I think I'll keep Ericsson. I mean, both them start for sure. Unless Arteta really goes absolutely crazy and has to give that start to Lacazette, which I don't think so will happen, considering that there's so much on the line for Arsenal to play. But yeah, I mean, in terms of all potential as well, I think Ericsson can easily outscore Nketiah just because of the opposition that they're playing. Yes, Everton also isn't a great team, but I think Leeds is a far worse team than Everton at the moment. Alisson's safest keeper pick, I think he is. He definitely starts. So while there could be a lot of rotation among defense, amongst your midfielders, maybe even the front three, I think Allison definitely starts this one. I It would be really surprising and shocking if Allison doesn't get a start. So I think he has to be the safest keeper option. You can even go Schmeichel, maybe Ramsdale. Uh, these are also options that I think will start. But I think in terms of output, in terms of a clean sheet for this week, I think Allison is really good. Which match are you most excited for today? I mean, there are a lot of good matches happening. I think the Spurs game, of course, I mean, not from a result perspective because I think it's gonna be one-way traffic. But yeah, from an FPL point of view, I think the Spurs game would really matter a lot because I don't have Son captain. I think majority of the people are gonna go Son captain. I think the Chelsea Watford game is also gonna be interesting because it will be very very interesting to see what kind of lineup Tuchel comes away with. I think those two will be, from an FPL point of view, I think those will be really interesting games. But I mean, if I have to see the game, I'm definitely not very excited about our own game, which is against Palace. Yes, Ten Hag will be in the stands, will be in the stadium, so all of that hype is there. But I mean, I just want the season to get done with the season and get it over with as a United fan. So I'll, yeah, probably be switching between the Liverpool and the Man City game. I think those are two games that I'll be watching mostly. Probably one more game or maybe two more games are. So I have a setup at home and I have a laptop as well. Of course, then you can watch one more game on the TV. So I think there'll be multiple games kind of running at the same time. But I think yeah, Man City Liverpool. I think those are two games that I'll be more excited about. You have the relegation battle as well, but I mean, yeah, no disrespect to any Burnley or Leeds fans, but I think the title, games would be more interesting. Richarlison Tony for a -4, is it worth? I think it is. I think you back yourself with Tony. I think Richarlison doesn't really have a great fixture. There's a chance that Everton might feel weaker. I mean, I can't. It's wrong to say weaker players. It's just it might be a second string team or might be a lot of youngsters to give them a chance. So I think with that scenario in mind, even Richarlison could get rested, right? So I think Richarlison to Tony for a hit is pretty good. I think the Chelsea backline this game week will be Kepa, James, Aspi, Sar, Rudiger, and Alonso. Or Kepa, Aspi, Chalobah, Sar. I mean, Sar, I think definitely plays. I'm not sure if somebody like a Kennedy, etc., they might get a shot or not. Could happen. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility at all, right? But I'm still having a feeling that both James and Alonso might not start. I mean, looks a bit tricky. Aspi, I think, will start. Rudiger playing the last game should start. And then you have Sar. So, I mean, almost similar in terms of what I'm thinking. But yeah, I mean, James could get rested for sure. Do I play Vegas to Broha? I mean, both really bad options, to be honest. I mean, I had both. I still have one. I mean, I look at the screen and I see bench boost active, and it just drives me crazy that why did I leave the bench boost for so long? I mean, yeah, but both average options. But if I had to select one, I mean, Vegas is against Newcastle. That's going to be a tight game. So I'll probably play. I mean, Southampton as well, right? I'm not a huge fan of Southampton in general. and the fixture against Leicester could be okay. I mean, if I had to go for one option, I'll probably go Broha, but I mean, not. There's always a chance that both of them get benched as well, right? So, what do we do in that scenario? That's another problem to kind of tackle. But yeah, I mean, I think Broha would be the preferred pick. Barnes or Kulusevski, slightly safer. I mean, not slightly, but I think a lot safer would be Kulusevski. And if you're chasing, then go Barnes. I mean, what's there to lose, right? Unless you have something to lose and you're probably playing for 1K, maybe 10K, maybe you're very, very close in your mini leagues. If you're absolutely chasing, going all, crazy, I think Barnes is not a very, very, flashy or a very different sort of a pick. I think he could do well. Mount Captain, yeah, I mean, I'm quite excited about Mount Captain. My rank is 79K at the moment. It fell from 29 to 79 last game week, and that made me kind of think that at this moment I'm not really concerned even if I don't get 100K, because whether it's 79, whether it's 100, doesn't really matter. Uh, of course, the initial target was to beat my last year's rank of 16K. That's definitely not going to happen. So, yeah, might as well take some chances, go for a few interesting options. I know Son could potentially really, really hurt me. But I think in general, I have Son, so I mean the pain is gonna be a lot lesser than somebody not having Son and not captaining them and losing almost on probably 1.7, 1.8 x points from a Son. So it's still bad. I won't lie, but yeah, I mean I'm okay taking that chance. Why not? Why not? Dewsbury Hall to Kulusevski for a 8. Second hit, -8. Yeah, I mean, why not? Kulusevski is playing Norwich. Dewsbury Hall, does he play? Maybe not. Leicester don't really have a lot to play for. I mean, yes, they can play for a position, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I would still back Kulusevski and the Tottenham team against a Norwich team who are really bad in defense. So I think Kulusevski is my option, even for a hit. I mean, I don't mind that. Thoughts on Saint Max? Good option to go for, but I think if I'm looking at a forward right now, is he fit? Let's quickly check that. I'm not sure. I think he should be. Yeah, I mean, I can go for Saint Max, but if I have slightly higher balance, let's say point 0.4 more, then I think I'll probably prefer a Wilson. I think Wilson's 7.1 if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So if I have point 0.4 more, I think Wilson is a decent option. If I have the same money, then I think yeah, Tony's point 0.2 more. So I mean, I can go for him, but I just feel if you have the money, go for Tony. If you have a slightly higher amount with you, and if you're okay taking a bit of a risk, then I think Wilson is definitely a lot better than Saint Max. I mean, Saint Max, in terms of expected goals, in expected involvement, goal involvement as well. I mean, his stats are always really good, but he doesn't look like a. I mean, he looks. Of course, Rafinha still had a much better season than Saint Max, but he looks like a player who dodges a lot of FPL points. If you know what I mean. I mean, Rafinha would always seem like a player who would really give, who has great data, who's great statistics, but he's not had double digit hauls. He's not had those goals scored. He's not, he's created a lot of chances, put in a lot of crosses, etc. He could have had a lot of assists, but has managed to evade us from all of that. And I think Saint Max kind of falls in that same category. Plus, he's very injury prone. So I'm just not. Of course, having said that, Wilson is injury prone as well, but just not there in terms of Saint Max as an FPL option yet. Could change next season. We don't know what's going to happen to Newcastle. I mean, they also would be looking for a step forward. But yeah, I mean, for this week, last game week, I mean, I'll probably look elsewhere. If Leeds go down today, which I don't think will happen, but if it does, I don't see them coming back up for a long time as the likes of Ralph, Phillips, Dallas, Melior. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just sad that players like Rafinha and Phillips might not come to United because of their connection, because of their association with Leeds and the rivalry that Leeds and United have. But I think in general, there's a high chance. I mean, Rafinha is definitely leaving. High chance that Phillips also leaves, doesn't come to United, maybe goes to a different club. Um, and I mean, Melior, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who will be potential suitors for Melior. If you guys have any ideas about it, do let me know in the chat. Dallas as well. I mean, do we think that Dallas can play for a team like West Ham, for example? Maybe the likes of Aston Villa, Leicester. I'm not too sure. I mean, he's still a good option. He still is a very versatile player, and he gives that edge in terms of a player playing in different positions. But yeah, I mean, players like Rafinha and Phillips absolutely will leave if Leeds get relegated. How many hits have you taken? I've taken a -12, which is very interesting because it's the final game week of the season and there's not a lot of time to cover these hits. But why not? I mean, I'm probably 20 odd points from 100k, and I mean, yes, there'll be a -12, so I'll be -8 or just 8 points away from 100k. But I mean, if Mount goes absolutely crazy, then why not? I just hope Son doesn't go as big as people are expecting him to go. All the signs are there, the data is there, statistics are there, matchup is there. He's playing the worst team in the league. He's playing for the Golden Boot. He's playing. Tottenham are playing for the fourth spot as well. So there's a lot riding on this game and Son as an FPL pick as well. So yeah, that's my worry. But otherwise, okay doing it. Would you recommend a bench? Would you recommend a -16? I'm also on bench boost. Depends on the players you're getting. I mean, if you're getting players like, for example, if you're getting a Son, if you're getting a maybe if you're getting a Saka for some reason, maybe if you're getting Madison, then maybe not. But if you're targeting hauls, chasing hauls, maybe getting in someone like a Mane, for example, maybe a Diaz, maybe you are looking at differentials like a Wadi, or maybe differentials like Lukaku. I think in that scenario, a hit really makes a lot of sense. And even if it's -16, I mean, again, it depends on your game state, right? I keep repeating it. I feel like a broken record, but in general, I think if you are chasing, if you are, of course, you have a bench boost, so you would want your bench to be ideal. But in case if you are very much safe, if you're playing to just protect rank, maybe not. Maybe don't take these many hits. But if you're like me, if you're trying to chase halls, etc., I mean, why not? A -16 final day, anything can happen. Pookie or Ericsson first bench? I'll have Ericsson on my first bench. I mean, Ericsson has the potential to outscore Pookie this week, so I'll definitely have Ericsson. I mean, Pookie can score a goal. Of course, he gets a point less. He doesn't get a point for clean sheets. I highly doubt that Norwich are going to keep a clean sheet. But yeah, I'll definitely have Ericsson. Mount captain. Any reason to go ahead of KDB and Son? So Son is the safest option out there. If I see my team, I don't really see a lot of differentials in there. I have Cancelo, I have James, highly owned. Sessegnon is a decent option who's probably going to be a lot less owned. I think he'll be a popular pick on a free hit, but not otherwise. Then you have Robertson, again high ownership. KDB, decently high ownership. Son, very high ownership. Kulusevski, maybe around 40 to 50 percent in the top 10k, or maybe around my rank. Zaha, again a slight differential. Tony might be around 20, 30, something like that. So yes, Tony, Zaha are two options, but I think Mount as a pick could be a differential, and when I'm captaining him, to be around 170, 180. There is no doubt that he's probably going to be around that range. So there is a chance that you can chase, you can go against the template and go for somebody like a Son. Uh, you know, maybe you don't go Son, maybe you go Mount. In case I was, so I don't have a lot to play for in terms of my mini leagues because the top two players are also far ahead, and the fourth position is way off. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle where I cannot go to second and I won't drop to fourth. So I don't have anything to play for there. But when it comes to rank, there's a chance that I might just sneak into the top 50k. I mean, I think 10k, 25k is definitely out of the question. But 50k is still a possibility. But I need about 20 points to cover in terms of the rank, in terms of 50k. And I think Mount with captaincy, if he starts against Watford, I think he can do that. The advantage that I get from a KDB and a Son won't be as high as I get with somebody like a Mount. Yes, there's a chance that Son could kill me in terms of rank loss because if he does really well, I'll at least be losing out on 70-75% of his average points. So that could be a huge loss. But again, Personally, for me, the scenario that I'm in right now, I don't really have a lot to play for, and I just feel with Mount, there's maybe a chance I can get into the top 50k. It's actually quite tricky, difficult, but yeah, let's see. Weird score lines that generally happen. So there's always a chance that you can get something absolutely crazy, and you're probably on the right side of it, right? And just put yourself, in that position where you can actually get lucky. Because if you don't take a few risks, if you don't take a few chances, then you're definitely not going to gain a lot because you're playing very safe. So yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. Mm, Kelly, you're asking for help, but I need to see your question. In case if you have any questions, please feel free to add that in the chat, and I'll definitely take up your question, and we'll definitely answer that. You have a lead of 30 in my mini league. He has Son, Madison, doesn't have KDB Mount, targeting 100k too. Should I go safe with Son or play KDB Mount? I mean, if you have a lead of 30, then you captain Son. I mean, no way that you should captain a KDB, a Mount, or a Madison for sure. I mean, um, I think you should definitely play. I'm sure you have Son, and you play safe, and you don't take a lot of chances, because I think if he is behind 30 points, I think he'll definitely take a chance with a Mount, or let's say like a KDB, for example. No, he doesn't have Mount and KDB, so I mean he has Son and Madison. So I think the only way he can go differential is probably do the transfer to a Mount, maybe do a transfer to KDB, which I don't think so. He will probably do. But yeah, I mean you definitely play safe and go Son. I want to captain one of Kane or Mount. Don't want to go Son captain. I mean, if you want to go and take a shout other than a Son, I think Mount is a really good option. Still waiting for any news or any information if we can get. I mean, there's a there's an account that tweeted the last information about Watkins starting and Ings getting benched, FPL villain, and he's tweeted that Emi Martinez is rested apparently, so that makes Man City assets more appealing. Yeah, I mean, Man City assets are still appealing. It's just that people are thinking that teams like Tottenham, teams like Liverpool could go even more crazier, could go even more bigger. So that's why they have slightly higher appeal. Mm, let's see. Do we have anything else? No, I don't see anything else. I mean, just the Villa news that Emi Martinez is arrested. Nothing else. Yeah, nothing else. Excuse me. Um, any indicators that saying Alonso starting? I mean, not any specific indicators as such, but just the news that he's probably made his mind in terms of leaving, and he's probably Barca are in the driver's seat to get that signing done. That gives me a little hope that Alonso might just play this game. Would you take a hit to bring in either Mount or Madders for Foden? Mount or Madison for Foden. If you're chasing, then I'll go Mount. If you are just protecting rank, then Foden is an equally good pick as well. Any other strikers worth bringing in other than Kane? I mean, you can go Tony if you don't want to go Kane. You can go Wilson as well if you are chasing. If you are looking at halls, if you are looking at different players and different spaces where you can actually gain rank, I think Wilson could be an interesting option. He's a risky option and he might just end up blanking, but I think there's still a decent chance that he starts and he does well. Or even Barnes captaincy shout, seeing how poor Mikalenko decision was, Barnes can definitely be no. I mean, yeah, I mean he cannot be worse than Mikalenko, but you never know. I still feel he won't be as bad as Mikalenko, because Mikalenko did that in a double game week where Everton had decent games. I mean, they They could have had at least a clean sheet, but yeah, the performance didn't warrant that at all. But yeah, I mean, how worse can it get, right? Have Mendy and Schmeichel whom to start. I mean, there's a chance that Mendy gets rested. Schmeichel possibly doesn't. So you start Schmeichel and probably bench Mendy. No way Gerrard is dropping Martinez today. He wants to help. I mean, he wants to help Liverpool, but I mean, it's coming from a lot of I mean, a lot of sources, but one very trustable source, which I kind of ignored last week. So there's this some saltiness there, but I think in general, I mean, might be the case. I mean, your argument is absolutely right that why would he want to rest his players if he wants to, go out there and prove a point, maybe help Liverpool at least make a fight out of it. I mean, there's absolutely a chance of that happening, but yeah. Ramsdale or Dubravka to play. I'll play Ramsdale. I think he has a better shout at a clean sheet, considering that Everton might field a weaker team, might field players, maybe a second string team, maybe some academy players as well. So yeah, I think Ramsdale has a good chance of keeping a clean sheet. Burnley, I think, will definitely want. I mean, at least from a logical perspective, you would expect them to, probably not concede early on in the game, see what's happening in the Leeds game, and then possibly, take a call in terms of how they want to approach this. So I think there's a chance that Ramsdale probably has a slightly easier clean sheet potential. Thoughts on James as a potential captain? I possibly won't make James as a captain. I think that's probably going a bit too far. Yes, he can start, and if he starts, I think there's a clean sheet in there. There are FPL points to be taken advantage of. But I mean, if I want to go differential, I'll probably go Mount, who's probably a little bit more safer in terms of a start. If I have to go for a captain, I'll probably not captain a defender this week. I mean, there are a lot of good options that have a good haul potential when it comes to getting points this week. You can get to a mount. You can probably go for if you want to go differential. There's Mane, there's Diaz. If you want to go, in some other places, there are options like Wadi, Madison. I mean, I don't really rate Madison that highly in terms of captaincy shout, but I think there are enough options for you to consider and not go for James, because James, I think, could have a potential rest. Have KDB and Salah and no Son whom to transfer out to bring Son. I think I'll definitely transfer out Salah. KDB starts for sure. I mean, he's a very important player for Man City, and I don't think so there's any chance in hell that he gets rested unless he has a warm up injury or something like that. Salah again, there are two possibilities with Salah. One, that he starts and he probably only gets about 45-60 minutes. The other possibility that he starts, or he doesn't start, sorry, and then he possibly comes on for the last 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes just to get some, rhythm going, just to get the match fitness a bit up. But yeah, so there's a high possibility that KDB does well. There's also a chance that he plays the false nine role. So yeah, I think you take out Salah, you get in Son, and just keep KDB. Which fixture do you think has lots of goals? I mean, there are a lot of fixtures that could have a lot of goals in it, to be very honest. We have Brentford Leeds. I think that game could be, like a 2-2, 3-3, anything of that sort. I mean, Leeds have to go for it, right? And Brentford would try to make it difficult for them, because Brentford are also a good attacking team. They're not very defensive in their approach. I think there's a chance that Brentford Leeds could be a high scoring game. I don't see Brighton West Ham to be a very high scoring game. I think they are very compact, two tight defenses, and it's a home game for Brighton. In front of the fans. Yes, they would still want to attack and put on a show for their fans, but I don't see that score like a high scoring game. In terms of I mean, other games, I think Leicester Southampton also. I think it's heavily favored in terms of Leicester. Liverpool Wolves also would be one sided. Man City Aston Villa could be interesting in terms of how the game starts. If Villa get a goal early on, I think Man City are going to go absolutely crazy. So that could be one interesting game. Norwich Spurs as well, right? I think it's again heavily favored in terms of Spurs. In terms of my predictions, my scoreline predictions, I think definitely see an Arsenal win here. Could be 2-0 to Arsenal. Brentford Leeds could be a 2-2. I think a safer bet is a 2-2, but maybe even a 3-3. Brighton West Ham, I think it's going to be a close game. Might just be a 1-1 draw. Burnley Newcastle again depends on how Burnley start. and of course how Leeds are starting in the other game. But yeah, this could be maybe 2-1, something like that to Burnley. Chelsea Watford expecting Chelsea to score at least 3 goals. Could be 4-0 as well. So there's a high chance that Chelsea keep a clean sheet, Watford don't score. Palace United, I see this game as a 2-1 game for Palace, not United. I think Palace could win this one. Home game for them, so let's see. Mm, the other games are Leicester and Southampton. Maybe a 2-0 or a 2-1 win for Leicester. Liverpool Wolves, I think 4-0. There's a high possibility of Wolves just kind of losing it very early on in the game, and that also gives chance to Liverpool to rest their players and maybe bring on different players. Could be 3-0 or 4-0. I think it could be 4-0 easily. Man City Villa could be interesting. I don't think so. Man City are gonna rattle past Villa. I think it's probably going to be a little bit closer than probably people are expecting it to be. I don't see this game as a Man City 4-0 or a 5-0 sort of game. I think it's going to be a lot closer because there's a lot on the line. Man City will be nervy, especially if they get news, or if at least the staff gets news that they are probably winning quite comfortably. I think it could get a bit nervy. Probably a 2-1 win for Man City. Norwich Spurs, I think again, I don't see Norwich scoring in this one, and I think this could be easily 4-0 to Spurs. Yeah. When am I doing the moves? I think in about 15-20 minutes is what we'll keep as a buffer. I think that's enough time to give ourselves in terms of making these moves. I don't want to keep it till the very end as well, because I think the last 10-15 minutes, because of the final game week of the season, I think there could be a lot of chaos. The servers etc might get down, so you guys also, I think you should not probably wait till the last minute. Maybe you wait till the last 10-15 minutes, but I don't think so you should take it beyond that. So in about maximum in about 20-25 minutes, I think you should make those moves, and we will as well. Let's see, I mean, should we, in general, I think, do you think we should go for Wilson instead of Tony? This is one thing that I've been thinking of in terms of my own team. Tony probably is slightly higher owned than, I think he's absolutely going to be higher owned than Wilson. But I think both of them have all potential. Leads again, I mean, he could do well. He could get a penalty as well. So there is different avenues, different narratives in terms of Brentford also doing well this week. Even, I mean, it's a tricky one, right? Because both of them, both the teams, both the opposition teams, for a Tony or for a Wilson, they are fighting for that relegation spot. And yeah, I mean, which team or which player do you really fancy? Do you fancy a Tony for Brentford or a Wilson for Newcastle? I still feel, I mean, I'm a little bit more inclined towards Tony, to be honest. Antonio, no, I don't think so. I mean, he's not done anything so far. I mean, after the early points that he gave us, and that powerful combination of Tony and not Tony. Why am I saying Tony? Of Bowen and Tony. I think that was really really good. But it's just surprising to see how flat he's got, or how I mean, he's played well for West Ham. He's slightly different role in terms of how he fits into that West Ham team, but he's not been getting FPL points. And as FPL managers, the one thing that only matters to us, of course, we can look at it from different angles, but the only thing that matters to us at the end of the day is FPL points, right? And if he's not giving us FPL points, I mean, yeah, he's gotten a couple of returns in the last 2 games, but yeah, I'm just not. I just feel that there's a higher ceiling with a Tony and a Wilson, not Antonio. Do you think Nketiah starts? I think so. I mean, he should start, right? It's a very important game for Arsenal. A lot of people are saying that he might prefer Lacazette because of the experience, but again, Lacazette has not been. I mean, he's not even put in a 7.5 performance in a long time. I mean, I don't even remember the last time he actually played for a considerable amount of minutes in one game and did really really well. I think it's been a long time. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he will go with the informed picks. Yes, I mean, Nketiah is way more or way less experienced than a Lacazette, but I just feel he won't make a lot of changes to what has been generally working. Yes, Arsenal has still played a couple of really poor games over the last few weeks, but I still feel Nketiah starts. West Ham players can be very, very decent punt. I mean, they will play for the Europa League spot, but Brighton are no pushovers, right? I don't think so. Brighton are just gonna, let them play at home and in front of the fans. It's the final home game or final game, and that's a home game for them. So I don't think so it's going to be that easy. I mean, Brighton's defensive numbers have been very, very solid, very tight. And yeah, I see there could be a West Ham win as well, but I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't see it being a very, very high scoring game, and that's why I'm not very bullish on West Ham players. Bowen is probably the only one that I probably look at, but again, I think if I had to compare him with a Mount, for example, I still feel Mount comes out on top. Start Dubravka, Guaita. I'll start Dubravka. Guaita might not play. There's a chance that Butland comes in, and that's what he's been doing over the past few weeks. Last three games, Butland has played. Another game, Butland could play. So I'm not too confident on Guaita. Antonio for Tony, I already answered this. Keep Tony. Yeah, I mean, I'm also thinking of keeping Tony. Mm, yeah, I mean, there's a chance that he might not outscore Tony by 4 points. There's absolutely a chance of that happening, and probably for that reason, we'll just stick to Tony. Let's see. Richarlison, Zaha to Tony, Mount. I'll do. I mean, the priority move could be again if you're making Mount, if you're going differential and you're probably making Mount as captain, then it's a lot better. I mean, this sounds a lot better, but a Richarlison to Tony for a hit also is fine, and just keep Zaha because Zaha doesn't really have a bad game. I mean, United is still an average defense at the moment, a team that is generally low on confidence. It will slightly be better because of the Ten Hag situation and because of him coming into the stadium and all of that different narrative. But I just think, yeah, let's see. I'm doing Salah to Son. Should I take a hit to get in Mount? If yes, who should I take out, Kulusevski or Saka? And both are really good picks in their own capacity. Kulusevski and Saka, I think both are good options. But if you want to chase, if you want to take a hit for Mount, I'll only do that in a scenario where you probably, I mean, either you're captaining Mount or you're chasing massively and you want a big hitter in your team. Because I think Mount can outscore Salah this week easily by 4 points. So you can take a hit for Mount, you can get him in, and I think I'll probably take out Saka and I'll probably just keep Kulusevski just because of the fixture that Tottenham and Kulusevski have. Who do you think scores the most point out of Mount, Madison, Barnes, and Foden? If I had to rate all of these, I think I personally think Mount outscores everybody this week. Then it's probably going to be it's actually quite close for second. Could be between Barnes and Madison. I think Foden probably blanks. I mean, I'm just I just think that that could happen, but yeah, he might be motivated after winning the Premier League award as well. I mean, there could be different narratives here, but I just feel it's probably going to be Mount, Barnes, Madison benched, comes off the bench, doesn't really do well, and then probably Foden. I mean, the top two are probably Mount and Barnes. Third and fourth could be between Foden and Madison, any one of them. Mount captain, being a Chelsea fan, I know one thing: Chelsea has that Watford curse. I mean, yeah, they do have that Watford curse, and I also was reading about it. But I mean, final home game of the season, they would want to end the season on a high. I understand that they might not be that many fans. I mean, the stadium is not going to be full, of course, because of the whole sanction thing that's been happening. But I mean, for my team, chasing, right? If you're chasing, keeping Son captain, when you have somebody like a Mount, for example, who could do well. I mean, I'm not saying that he will absolutely go crazy. There's a chance that he blanks. There's a chance that anybody could blank, right? Even a Son against a Norwich could blank. I mean, that looks like a very crazy thought or a crazy scenario to even consume. But I think that could still happen. So if this was me very close in my mini leagues, or if this was me very close to maybe 25k, maybe 10k, maybe my last year's rank of 16k, then I would have probably been a little more watchful in terms of making Son as captain. Because if I make Son captaincy, if he's captain, right, let's say if he's captain and if he's having an ownership of about 170, 180, the gain that you're getting from a Son, and when I say gain, I don't mean points. When I say gain, it's actually the amount of ranks that you can gain. Even if he scores 30 points, for example, let's assume that he scores 30 points and I'm getting a 60-point haul, but the absolute advantage that I'm getting in terms of my rank is not going to be as high On the other hand, if even if Mount, I don't think so. Mount will be captained by a lot of people. His ownership, I think his overall ownership might not be more than 40-45% effective ownership. And with that captaincy haul, I'm probably going to get about 160, maybe 150% advantage from that haul. Yes, there's a chance that I lose out on 70-75% of Son's points. I mean, there's a lot of numbers here, but it just feels to me that if you're chasing, if you don't have anything else to play, I mean, why would you captain Son? I mean, there's absolutely no way. Unless you have this in mind that you want, let's say if you have maybe are 50, 60K, maybe 70K, maybe very close to 100K, right? Let's say 90K. And you have this idea or your objective that, I have to finish at least in the top 100K this season. Then you maybe take a chance with Son, play it safe, and then you maybe, at least from my team, depend on somebody like a Sessegnon, Zaha, maybe a Tony, and let's see. I mean, that could be the only scenario where a person who doesn't have anything to play for in their mini leagues and is probably closer to 100K than probably 25-50K would kind of take. And I think personally for me, I'm okay losing out on more rank even if I get over 100K. I mean, it's fine. It's the final game week of the season. I don't want to have any regrets that I didn't give it a shot. If Son completely massacres or completely goes crazy, I still have Son in my team, so the disadvantage is gonna be a lot lesser as compared to not having Son at all. But the advantage that I would gain from Son is not gonna make any difference because that's not gonna push me towards 50K or a better rank. Hope the stream is going well. Absolutely, the stream is going well. We've been streaming for the past 2.5 hours, and thank you so much for joining. What do you think about Madison versus Bowen? I have a feeling that, I mean, it's gonna be a bit closer in terms of the ceiling. I think Madison has a higher ceiling in terms of points, but Bowen is an absolute surety in terms of a start. Um, the team is chasing in terms of the Europa League spot and all of that stuff, but they're facing Brighton, and they're playing away, so there's a chance that it could be very very close. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if you feel that Bowen is probably the better option because there's a lot more to play, it's an absolutely fair argument. I won't really contest against that argument. So I think personally for me, I'm assured of a Madison start. I think Madison could outscore Bowen, but yeah, I mean, if you're not gonna get any information, then probably just play Bowen because you know for a fact that Bowen is gonna start this one. Would you take a hit to remove Matip for Sessegnon? Matip for Sessegnon, I think I could. If we get some news around Matip not starting, then I think this hit becomes a lot more easier to digest and to understand. But yeah, I mean, not totally against it. 70-point lead for me is good enough to go for a differential captain right now because I think I mean, yeah, absolutely. Even if he captains Son, unless Son scores about 35-40 points, which again, I don't think so that's going to happen. But if you want to chase, get into the top 1 million, I think Kane is a slightly more sensible option. It's a more logical option. But again, if you just want to defy logic and if you just don't want to listen to any logic, then I mean, Barnes is a decent option to go for. Zaha and Coutinho to Madison and Madison Bowen for a -4. With Zaha and Coutinho to Madison and Bowen. So if you're playing safe, I mean, Coutinho doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence this week. And this week he might just score because he's not been doing anything for me. This week when I'm getting rid, he might just, score an odd goal against Man City. It's improbable, but it's not impossible. So Zaha and Coutinho to Madison and Bowen. I think they're decent moves. I think Coutinho starts maybe this one. Zaha definitely does. Bowen definitely does as well. So there's only Madison. It's basically Zaha versus Bowen and then kind of Coutinho versus Madison in terms of at least starts. I think it's a decent move. United might not be as bad as what I am thinking or as what people are thinking. So yeah, I mean, when you look at Zaha versus Madison, I mean, Madison, if he plays, has a better opponent, is in slightly better form. I think he doesn't have penalties, but the points or the different avenues in terms of his FPL points. I think could be assists, could be goals, etc. Zaha is more of a goal threat, and you could also depend on him for penalties. Not sure, how many times you can get those penalties, etc. So there is a lot of wishful thinking, etc. But yeah, let's see. FPL Focus said that Leicester are going to be full strength, Madison, Barnes, and Vardy to play. I mean, if they're full strength, then absolutely, why not? Uh, Make that move. I think it's a good combination. It's a good transfer. Nothing against a transfer, even for a hit. I mean, Madison has the potential to go crazy, and Barnes not playing last week against Chelsea. I think he that also gives him a good boost in terms of starting. And the idea of Barnes and Vardy starting together looks very appealing, because most of Barnes's best performances has or have come when he's played alongside Vardy, where Vardy does a lot of the donkey work, and he gets the ball, he makes those runs, and he scores goals. So I think in that sort of scenario, pretty good. Spanish Spanish GP is starting right now. Got one tab open for F1, one for FPL site, and one for FPL news. I mean, yeah, I wish I could see the race as well. I'll probably catch up on it a bit later, maybe at night. Maybe I'll watch a replay or something. Mm, where goes to Tony for a -4? Yeah, I mean, not a bad move. Decent, even for a hit. I mean, it's just because Tony has all potential, right? If Tony was playing a tougher opposition, and not as bad a defense as Leeds, for example, then this move was maybe a bit questionable. But I think overall it's a decent move, not bad. Vardy or Tony? Definitely Vardy. If you can afford and if you can manage the money, I think definitely has to be Vardy. Selling Salah and taking a hit, pick two players, Madison Bowen or Luis Diaz, or should I get KDB? I think if you're chasing, then you get Diaz. If you're playing safe, then you get KDB. I think selling Salah, and I mean, even Mane could be a decent punt, right? I'm not against Mane as well. If I had the money, and if I'm not using that money elsewhere, if it's just a simple transfer, then I think Salah to Mane is also pretty good. Barnes or Madison, who's the better option? I think it's pretty simple. If you're chasing, then you have to go for Barnes. I think there's a good upside with him. You can get a lot of hauls. You can get a lot of points, which I think a lot of people won't know or won't have, because I don't think so. Majority of the people are going to go for Barnes, right? Madison is a safer option. So if you're protecting your rival, if let's say your rival in your mini league has Madison and you want to protect your lead, or just cover off that option, then maybe you go Madison. If you're trying to protect rank, you go Madison. Otherwise, I think both are decent options. It's I think both have a good haul potential. It's just the game state that you are in, whether you're chasing or whether you're playing safe. Red Bull, Ferrari, or Merc. Also, which driver do you support? I'm expecting and I hope that Mercedes is able to do well. I mean, there were signs that they did catch up on the on the Red Bulls and the Ferraris this particular race. I mean, the practice was a couple of practice sessions. There was a lot of positivity around in terms of how Hamilton was kind of reacting to the car, how Russell was feeling in the car. I think they're definitely faster on the straights. There's a lot less porpoising in terms of how the car is now reacting. I think because of that issue, because of fixing that issue, they can extract a little bit more pace and a little bit more lap time. And I think this could be a little bit closer as well. I mean, generally, what I've seen this season, I think Merc and Red Bulls are better in terms of managing their tires. I think Ferrari definitely has great one lap pace, but over the course of the whole race, I think Red Bull is still the stronger car. Yes, there is reliability in terms of what can happen to them, but yeah, I mean, and we saw that if you guys caught up on the qualifying yesterday, there was some issue with Verstappen at the end. So yeah, in terms of reliability, it has to be Ferrari for sure. Let's do the move. Yeah, I think we should. Just give me a couple of minutes. We'll just answer if any questions are there. Let's go Madison or Mick. I mean, yeah, both. I think Haas in general over the season, or over the over this particular calendar year, have done really well. I mean, the improvements to a car with a limited set of budget, with a limited set of funding, with limited resources in general, not having the best people in terms of your chief of aerodynamics, whether it's your engine, whether it's maybe your pit crew, for example. I mean, there's a lot that goes on into an F1 team, right? But I think it'll be really great. I think for Mick Schumacher as well. I don't think so. He was very close to finishing in the points last time around where he had that incident with Vettel. But yeah, could be a really interesting race for the Haas team. Cash to Sessignon or Iheanacho to Tony. I think Cash to Sessignon looks a good option. I'm not sure whether Iheanacho starts, so I'll probably just keep Iheanacho on the bench and then do Cash to Sessignon. Sessignon has a higher ceiling, even higher than Tony this week. Yeah. So let's see. Please convince me not to be stupid by captaining Barnes and be censored by captaining. I mean, I'm not gonna convince you at all. Why should I convince you of captaining Kane? I didn't convince you, but yeah, I was in agreement in terms of you captaining Mikalenko last week. So last game week of the season, nothing to play for in your mini league. Why not take a chance, go Barnes, and just see the magic happening, right? I don't think so. Any magic is gonna happen, but yeah, let's see. Let's see. Uh, Hamilton 19th. What is happening in the race? I'm not sure. Not for. I mean, I wanted to see the race, but I think my internet, which I will definitely fix in the coming season, I think it won't be able to take the stream plus the live coverage of F1. So yeah, let's see. Do you see Zaha hauling against United? I mean, it's the final game of the season at home as well, and against his former club. That rejected. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of. I think there seems to be a lot of bad blood between Zaha and United, and then yes, there's a lot of narrative in terms of him coming back to or the old club coming back to him. Uh, he always wants to prove a point against United, and his record against United when he's played against them has been decent. So yeah, I mean, if you're a more of a scenario manager than logic, it's absolutely fine because that scenario is bang on. I mean, there is nothing wrong with that scenario. It's just that I mean, how do we react? I mean, of course, there's that Zaha versus United narrative as well, but I think for United, it's gonna be a very different sort of a mindset. So whether we get or whether we get anything positive or we become a little bit positive, especially after the whole Ten Hag scenario, maybe not, and that could impact Zaha's performance as well. So let's see. I mean, the haul is definitely in there, and I think the way we've defended so far, I think it's been pretty bad. So yeah, why not? Hamilton 19th. I'm not sure what's happening. Do let me know in the chat what is happening, guys. How did he come to 19th? Not sure. Vettel up to P13. I mean, yeah, could finish in the top 10. I mean, they had a very different car for this race. It raised a lot of eyebrows. So yeah. Any Chelsea team news? There is. I mean, it's not a confirmed news, but yeah, there's a high chance that Alonso starts. Uh, I mean, Andy did tweet that Salah is being benched. So yeah. So far, Salah is benched. Martinez is benched. All Spurs first team have traveled apart from Romero. So yeah, that's nothing on Chelsea, to be honest, guys. I'm still looking through forums, looking through Twitter as well. In case if you guys come across anything, do let us know in the chat as well. But nothing on Chelsea yet. Still about 20 odd minutes to go. So I think let's not lose hope in terms of not getting anything. I think there could be something still. I mean, there's still about 20 odd minutes to go. But yeah, right now there's nothing. I think we'll make our moves then. Mostly Lukaku is benched and Havertz starts up top with Mount. That really becomes very interesting then if Mount is starting and with Havertz. I think both of them really have high potential. Havertz could be an outside punt, but for me, I think Mount is still the better option to go for. I mean, Havertz could also get hooked off I mean, he won't get hooked off early, but he might just play with 65 minutes, and then Tuchel might give somebody else a chance. Playing a 5-4-1 with Barnes, captain, hoping for a finish for the bang. Absolutely, man, go for it. Don't at all blame me if that goes absolutely wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's great that you're taking these punts, and I mean, if you're enjoying these, there's nothing better than that. I mean, in spite of somebody being a serious manager, it's the motivation and the potential of playing your own game, your own FPL season. I think it's beautiful in its in its entirety. So I think, yeah, If you're absolutely fine with it, go with it. Magnussen P20, Mick P6 though. I'll definitely have to catch up on what's happening. How did Magnussen, and it's not even, I'm pretty sure the race started about 10 odd minutes back, so there cannot be anything in terms of a pit stop. Maybe there was a safety car because of incident between Magnussen and Hamilton. Maybe, I'm not sure, guys. If you're watching it, if you're seeing it, do let me know in the chat. First FPL season, 2,343 points. I think that's pretty good. It's I think it's a decent score. How many points are we are at? I'm not sure. 2455 is what I am at. So yeah, decent score. Um, I mean, 80k in a first season. If it's your first season, I think that's also pretty good. Even, I mean, any rank which is I would not even say 100k. I mean, yes, this season there have been a lot of active managers, but any rank which is even around 500k, even a million for that matter, right? And I think it's only going to get a lot tougher with every year, because there will be more engaged, more managers who get tuned in into FPL content, who take the game seriously, and who also play till the end. I mean, yes, taking the game seriously till an extent really helps you, but you have to also play consistently, right? You have to be on the move in terms of what transfers you're making, what changes you're making, and you can't just tune out, because if you do, you'll end up you'll definitely lose out on a lot of stuff, and then that'll ultimately hurt your rank. Havertz is more goal threat, but Mount is, I mean, especially when Mount plays in that number 10, that hole, right? I mean, there's a lot more potential to his FPL points avenues. He can get you assists. He can, I mean, we have seen in this season itself, I think he's got about 5 or 6 double digit hauls already. And there's an absolute chance that he can go absolutely crazy. Last season he was a bit limited in terms of his potential, because he was mostly getting into more creative spots and trying to create more for the team. But this season we've seen a different Mount. We've seen a different position that he's kind of been playing in. So yeah, I mean, I think Mount looks good. I think we'll guys make our moves. So it's Shar and Sessegnon. Um, so we'll just quickly do that. I mean, I'll still probably say wait for about 5 minutes in saving, but let's just not waste more time in adding these players. So we'll quickly add these players. I'm first adding Sessegnon in place of Shar. Then we go Coutinho is out. Mount is definitely coming in. That's I think that I'm pretty clear in terms of why I want Mount instead of options like a Madison or a Havertz. I can absolutely go wrong here, but let's make Mount captain, and then let's see what happens. Dennis and Ings are also out. I wish I did have the money for a Tony plus Wilson, but I don't have it. So we'll just get in Tony, and we will get in Nketiah. I think Nketiah also, with Arsenal having to still play for that fourth spot, I don't think so. I mean, it's really hard to see Nketiah getting benched, especially when he's been in decent form for Arsenal. So yeah, we have 0.8 million in the bank. Not enough, sadly, not enough to get in Wilson. It's already a -12. Don't think so. There any more hits required. A -12, according to a lot of you, might sound absolutely crazy, but I mean, let's give it a shot. Um, Mendy, Sar, Rudiger, Aspie, James, Saul, Loftus Cheek, Kennedy, Mount, Barkley, Havertz, most probably. I mean, yeah, slightly weakens the Chelsea team, but Mounts plus Havertz, I think could haul in this one. I generally don't see Alonso starting again. But yeah, let's see. Salah to Madison, King to Tony, Ramsey to Mount, Puemo to Bowen, -12, taking 3 hits. Currently have bench boost. I mean, these are good transfers to make. King to Tony is also good. Ramsey to Mount is pretty good. So you have Mount, Bowen, and Madison. I'm assuming you don't have Son, so just keep that, or make sure that you are aware of that, or you already have Son, then it's a different thing. But yeah, all the moves look pretty okay. I think for a bench boost as well, I think these are good moves. Missing out on a Vettel. I mean, yeah, I'll probably just end the stream a little bit earlier today. I mean, of course, after the deadline, but as soon as the deadline's done, I'll probably end it, because I know it'll be probably about half an hour into the race. But yeah, I don't want any more information on F1, because I probably want to experience it myself. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. Gonna be an interesting race. I mean, Spain generally is not a very interesting race in terms of a lot of overtaking happening. It's very difficult to win here from the second row or even further down. Most I think I was reading a stat yesterday that I think about 30 31 of the races that have happened, about 23 people have won from pole. So the pole really, or the front row, I think. So yeah, so I think those two spots are really important. But overall, it could be an interesting race, especially for somebody like a Russell, for example. Very interested to see how he's doing. So let's see. Captain Son, Vadio Madison. Son safest. If you're protecting rank, go Son. If you don't want to take a lot of risk, lot of chances, go Son. If you are trying to chase, go Wadi. I think he's a slightly better option than Madison. In case if you have somebody in your mini leagues, etc., that already has Wadi and doesn't have Madison, in that scenario only, I will suggest Madison. But otherwise, I think Wadi is a good pick. Richardson to Tony, Broha to Weghorst, Coutinho to Mount, White to Aspie, -12 with bench boost. Broha to Kelhart. Sorry, I didn't read that last message. So I'll read that again. Richardson to Tony, Broha to Kelhart, Coutinho to Mount, White to Aspie. And yeah, I mean, Aspie doesn't really scream a lot of FPL points. He's safe in terms of giving you a clean sheet. So if you can, I mean, I'll probably do White to Sessegnon unless you already have Sessegnon. I think that's a better move. That also might, I'm not sure that will give you money or not, but if you have a little bit more money, I'll also want to upgrade a Gelhardt to somebody else. I mean, Gelhardt could start for Leeds, but I'll be a little bit more interested in somebody like an Nketiah, or if you can somehow get to a. Oh, you already have three Spurs. Okay, I don't know that. Then I think, I mean, in that case, I mean, they're not any other options in terms of defense. I mean, Aspilicueta, not very excited about the transfer, but yeah, I mean, it's a functional player who could give you clean sheet points. Confirm the move. We'll just quickly check one last time if there's anything on Twitter. Hmm, no, I don't think so. We have anything. Somebody saying not a leak, but Alonso and James might be benched. I mean, it's yeah, it's just people guessing, so I won't really read too much into it. There's a chance that James and Alonso both can get benched, but yeah, yeah. I mean, no idea. Nothing yet. I don't think so. There's any news, so I think we'll just roll with it and just confirm the moves. Yeah, did that. Confirm the moves. Let's see. Let's hope that all of the players that we have are starting, and Mount does really well. Son somehow blanks. I have no idea how he'll manage that, but let's just hope that Son maybe blanks in this one. Just quickly set up our team, and I'll also update it on Instagram one. Just give me a moment. I'll probably just do that quickly. Uh, I hope Schmeichel starts. Uh, I think he does. I don't think so. Schmeichel would be benched in any capacity, to be honest. Aspian Gelhardt or Nketiah and a defender under 4.6, maybe Newcastle one. I mean, Newcastle also, it's not really screaming a lot in terms of a lot of FPL points, right? So I'm not too sure. Not too sure. I mean, if that's the thing, then I'll probably just have Aspilicueta. I mean, depends on which defender you're talking about. I mean, is there any other defender that you can go for? I mean, there are not enough options, to be honest, in that price bracket right now. So yeah, I mean, Aspilicueta and Gelhardt in that scenario could be okay. Sorry for the spoiler, but you're missing. I mean, yeah. Let's just keep it till that. Uh, James starting. As far as I have read, people are saying he's going to be benched, but so FPL Focal has tweeted that Zaha starts. There is no Mateta. And I think Focal is a very trustable source when it comes to Palace news. So yeah, I think Zaha is. I mean, I think everybody knew that Zaha is probably going to start, so it's not really a lot of valuable information, if you know what I mean. Um, let's just quickly see our team. So Mount is a captain, Son is our vice captain. We are playing the bench boost, so let's play the bench boost and make it active. On the bench, we have White and Ketia and Weghorst. The order doesn't really matter because we are anyways playing the bench boost. Captain is Mount, vice captain is Son. I'll quickly update this on our Instagram as well. What would be a better transfer, Bowen, Barnes, and Wadi, or Bowen, Madison, and Matip? I like Bowen, Barnes, and Wadi if you're chasing. It's a really, really good set of transfers. Matip, again, doesn't really have Hall potential. I mean, yes, he's been scoring goals and he's been playing really well. But yeah, I mean, still feel the safer option is to, I mean, the more explosive, sorry, not safer, but the more explosive option here is to go for Barnes, Bowen, and Wadi. I really like that combination. Do you watch IPL? I'm not too much. I won't lie. Did watch a lot of IPL over the past uh few years, but yeah, not this season. Not supporting any team as such. Want Bangalore to do well. I stay in Bangalore, so I want them to do well. Yeah, I mean the only team that, I mean, I don't support Bangalore, but yeah, I mean I would definitely want them to win the IPL, yeah, but yeah, not following at all this season. Wadi or Tony for a -4? Definitely go Wadi. There's a high ceiling there. This time going against you and making Son as the captain. Absolutely, man. Final game week of the season. I mean, trust your own gut. If you feel that Son is gonna give you better points, you might not lose out rank. Absolutely go for that. Why not? Absolutely. Uh, just guys, about 10 minutes to go, so you can just add in any more questions, any more comments. If at all you haven't made your moves, haven't made your transfers, I think that this is the good time to kind of do those, because about 6 or 7 minutes to go in terms of the deadline, and I think the servers might crash very, very soon. So yeah, just keep that in mind that we don't have a lot of time. I'll just quickly update the story. You're a Delhi fan. Yeah. I mean, Delhi is also one of those teams, right? Who has had a good decent opportunities to win it, but I mean, yeah, it's been very clear who the two favorite teams to generally win IPL. So, yeah, but this season, I mean, they've been doing okay. Um, but yeah, Richarlison out for Kane and Mount in for Salah. -4. I'll do that. Nice moves. In YOLO mode, took a -12. In Vardy, Diaz, Mount, Foden out. Dennis, Salah, Mahrez, Coutinho, who to captain. I like those moves. I mean, why not? 280k, why not take that chance, right? Who to captain? Vardy, Mount, Son, James. Again, if you feel that you've taken a lot of hits, but I think those hits will kind of turn out good for you if you go somebody like a Vardy or a Mount. Both are good options. I like Mount because of that additional clean sheet point, because of the additional goal scored point. So I think go Mount instead of Vardy. But yeah, I mean those hits would look a lot better if you captain a differential. Looking at a -20, I mean, why not? I mean, if you're chasing, if you are trying to take a few chances, I know it's not a lot to kind of cover up in terms of just a single game week, but why not take a chance, right? We're chokers like RCB. I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like RCB, Delhi is also choked in the crunch moments. Madison out and Mount in for -4. I mean, only if you're trying to protect from somebody, or maybe you're chasing a haul specifically. Let's say if you don't have, if somebody doesn't have Mount, if you're, maybe chasing those points, etc. Otherwise, Madison's a good pick this week. Any last minute news? Nothing as I saw. Nothing I've seen. Not 100% confirmed, but early rumors are that Richarlison may be rested, and there's a high chance that Richarlison could get rested anyways. But yeah, I mean, nothing is official in that regard. I want Zaha for the scenario against. I mean, yeah, United do need to win to get into the Europa League, but do they really care about Europa League or the Conference League at the moment? I'm not too sure. I mean, the way we've played, it feels that we don't even care about playing at all or stepping onto the pitch. Forget about Europa or Conference. I might be too critical, but that's just what I strongly feel. Give me 38. There's about 5 minutes to go, so just make sure that you save your teams, make your transfers, complete your. I mean, just put the captaincy on the player that you think is gonna haul the most. If you're catching, if you're doing chasing, I think that's the strategy you go with. If you are going safer, then you go Son and just forget about it. I think that's a very screwed way to put the captaincy debate out there. I mean, yeah, you can't see Ronaldo playing in the Conference League. That is absolutely there. But at least what we've read, excuse me, or what we've seen so far, there's a high chance that Ronaldo stays at United. Ten Hag is able to convince him at United. Whether that actually happens or not, only time will tell you. But yeah, I mean, you can't really see Ronaldo playing in the Conference League. That's an absolute surety. Maybe he gets rested in those games, and maybe somebody who Ten Hag brings in into the United setup, into the United team, that player particularly starts. That could also be there. There's a couple of minutes to go. Excuse me. Do let me know if you have any more questions. We might not continue for a longer time this time around. I also have to watch the F1 race, so I'll probably head or exit a little bit early this time. But yeah, thank you so much again for joining the stream. Thank you so much for your support, for all your love that you've shown over the past the entire year. I know it's been a long one, it's been a draining one, but I'm pretty sure this was not possible with all of you or without you guys. I think I've certainly been very motivated to put out a lot of content. There've also been personal achievements that I've kind of come across. Uh, who to captain? KDB or Mount? KDB slightly safer. Mount differential and risky. Definitely Mount if you're chasing in your mini leagues as well. If you're chasing rank, go Mount. Otherwise, go a bit safer and go KDB. So yeah, I was just talking about how much or what kind of a year it's been. I think it's definitely been a great year. Of course, there's a lot to look forward to in terms of what would happen in terms of in terms of insanely football as a community. I think there's a lot that we can do, and I think we will be doing. But yeah, I mean, of course, I'll be putting out a lot of stories in terms of what we are doing. I'm also starting channel memberships. They're also live on the channel. So in case if you are interested, in case if you want to support us and you like our content, you can also do that. I'll probably be making a video about it, and that'll probably give you a better idea. But yeah, in case if you have any ideas in terms of what we can do or what would you like to see over the next couple of months on the channel, whether it's a YouTube video or maybe on Instagram or just general content, there are other things as well in pipeline, but of course, those are surprises that I'm probably not going to reveal right now. We'll definitely have a stream probably tomorrow. Just to give you guys an idea, we'll disclose who the league winners are. We'll also talk about our season learning. So if you just want to catch up, might not be a long stream, might be a half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour long stream. We'll just talk about our FPL season, some learnings, and just have a good time. I mean, why not, right? We've had a stressful season. We've had stressful deadline streams. We have chaotic deadline streams, and I think we deserve to have some fun. So yeah, thank you so much again. I hope you've been able to save your teams. Just a minute to go. Minus 16. That's. I mean, yeah, might be crazy, might not be crazy. You've had enough of FPL, can't be? I mean, yeah, FPL stress. Unless you're a casual player, there is a lot of stress, no doubt about it. Went for Mane instead of Kane. That's really nice. And Madison for a hit, not bad. Very unsure with it, but I opted for no hits. I mean, that's fine. If you feel that you don't have to take hits, it's absolutely fine. Captain Kane or Son, safer Son, trickier or not trickier, but I think a little bit differential is Kane, depending on game state again. You captain Mount, hope he does well. I also captain Mount, and I hope I was able to save my team and save my bench boost. Now I can't see. Let's just hope we were able to save our bench boost and save our captaincy. I mean, I probably don't remember what happened. Yeah, I'll probably update with a story if something goes wrong or if there's some blunder that we committed the last point of time. Yeah, deadline for the last time of the season. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a crazy long season. And then of course get some break, or kind of switch on to different things. There will be, of course, no football, but there'll be a lot of football news, transfers, rumors, etc. All that stuff happening. This year is also very exciting because this is the World Cup year. Of course, we'll be doing fantasy, but in general, I think World Cup would spring a lot of chaos in general. I think we might have a great tournament as well. So really looking forward to that as well. But yeah, before that, of course, we'll be having the Premier League season to start, and with the whole Mbappe thing happening, with players, with rumors already starting to come up in terms of United players, in terms of other players coming to United, in terms of the likes of Lewandowski going to Barcelona. I mean, so much can happen this time in the next couple of months, and yeah, really looking forward to it. Really excited about it. I hope you are too, and of course, we'll be putting out a lot of content in that regard as well. So I think that'll be all, guys. Thank you so much again for joining. Thank you so much again for joining us today and on the stream. If you're new around here, make sure that you like the stream. You can also subscribe to the channel. We will be doing regular content, FPL content, UCL content, World Cup fantasy. I mean, there's a lot to talk about and kind of digest over the next season. But we'll of course be involved in all the football that's happening around the world. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be exciting. Uh, have a good time, have a good day today, or evening today, watching all the games. Have a good time. We will of course be catching up tomorrow, and in case if you guys are free, just come down and say hello, for some time. Just have some fun with us, and yeah, we'll see you very very soon. Have a good time, be safe, keep smiling, and I will see you in Saners next time. Bye bye.